Chapter 132. Love-making poison. Gu Yin Tianqin and Lu Zhantian had different reactions after listening to the conversation between the two. Lu Zhantian exuded a chill, secretly hunting down his granddaughter just for some pills. Those people truly deserve to die. Meanwhile, Yin Tianqin's eyes revealed slight confusion. If it's for the marrow-cleansing pill, then shouldn't they try Tokach Lu girl? Why do they want to assassinate her instead? The purple-clothed man looked at Lu Muyen meaningfully and smiled. What do you think, little girl? If the enemy kingdom had a person who owned marrow-cleansing pills, and who could also refine the energy-nourishing pill, but was the granddaughter of a great marshal who can't be used for themselves, then what would you all do if it were you? Lu Muyen asked with a light smile. Yun Tianqin answered, naturally kill. Then he pondered for a while and said, so that's how it is. It seems that the mastermind behind that force is an enemy kingdom of Yanzhou Kingdom. Paternal Uncle Emperor, have you ever felt tired recently during the day, but at night, you'd be as vigorous as a dragon and as lively as a tiger? Lu Muyen looked at Yun Tianqin with a smile that wasn't quite a smile. Yun Tianqin was taken aback and smiled somewhat awkwardly. There has indeed been such a situation in recent months. Could there be something wrong? He had long suspected that something was wrong with his body, but the Empire's physicians and alchemists had all checked him and there was no major problem. Of course something's wrong. Lu Muyen continued, can I feel your pulse? Sure. He didn't doubt Lu Muyen's medical skills. He had never told outsiders about his symptoms, so since she could tell his symptoms, then she must have an extraordinary side. Lu Muyen probed Yun Tianqin's pulse and furrowed her brows unconsciously. There's a type of toxin hidden in your body, but it hasn't broken out yet, so other physicians or alchemists can't detect it. But if you wait for them to be able to detect it, then Paternal Uncle Emperor, your entire cultivation base would probably already be lost. What kind of poison is it? Yun Tianqin, as the monarch of an entire kingdom, indeed had a heart that was fearless against danger. Even if he was shocked inwardly, but he didn't display it. A kind of love-making poison one. Seeing the confusion in Yun Tianqin's face, she added, Paternal Uncle Emperor, when night arrives and you find that you're really energetic, is it when you go to Imperial Noble Consort Gus's place? Yun Tianqin narrowed his eyes slightly and concealed the dark light in his eyes. He hadn't felt it before, but in retrospect it was indeed true. Every time he was full of energy and when the fire in his abdomen was burning like a stove, Head always inexplicably walked to Gu Yenting's palace. As long as he made love for the night, the next day He'd feel refreshed. This situation was as if he had no control over it. The only person he loved was Lu Mozi, and yet he was extremely infatuated with Gu Yenting's body. This was already incompatible with the calming method he cultivated. It seemed that there must be hidden circumstances. You mean Gu Yenting poisoned me? I once smelled the trigger for this sort of love-making poison on Imperial Noble Consort Gu, so just now when I saw that Paternal Uncle Emperor had abnormal bloodshot eyes, and there were blue eye circles, I guessed that you were affected with this kind of poison. Lu Muyen retracted the hand on Yun Tianqin's wrist. After checking your pulse now, I can be certain that you've been poisoned by love-making poison. Hearing Lu Muyen's words, coldness couldn't help but rise in Lu Zhantian and the purple-clothed man's eyes. There were indeed many obscurities and much darkness in the palace, but Gu Yenting poisoning Yun Tianqin with love-making poison stepped on their baseline. It was undeniable that Yun Tianqin was the present age's most righteous monarch, and at Middle Phase Sword King cultivation base, he could live at least 200 or 300 years. After he was inaugurated, he exerted himself in prospering the country, ensuring the kingdom was rich and the people were strong, and Yanzhou Kingdom's territory had also expanded a lot. If there was no accident, He'd rule and manage Yanzhou Kingdom for another 100 years. He was also the best candidate for a monarch. But if the toxin in his body broke out and he lost his cultivation base, then He'd most likely die after living for another 100 years. The period in which he was poisoned could also give other kingdoms an opportunity to take advantage of the situation. Crack. The teacup in Yun Tianqin's hand was crushed by him and his face carried some fury. Come and read on our website Wuxiao World site. Thanks. Lu Muyen glanced at Yun Tianqin's teacup that was shattered into powder, and the corners of her lips curled up as she continued, the loss of cultivation base is just a symptom of the early onset of the love-making poison. If the poison isn't cured, then in the later stages, as long as one adds in a type of insect Gu too, those that are infected by the Gu poison would slowly become a puppet and be controlled by the person who planted the Gu. When she turned into a normal human and studied medicine in the human word, she once entered a continent that prospered in the art of the Gu and learnt the skills of poisoning with Gu and curing Gu. She just so happened to know about the love-making poison goo that Yin Tianqin was poisoned with. You know so much about this love-making goo, then Lu girl, you must have a way to solve it? The purple-clothed man turned the Buddhist beads in his hand much faster. Yin Tianqin was his grandson. That girl from the Gu clan dared to have such ideas. She truly deserved to die. Indeed, it can be cured. She was here to do business, and this was just a bait for the transaction. Is it difficult to cure? Yin Tianqin still had a smile on his face, but there was no temperature in his eyes. Lu Muyen replied, the love-making poison hadn't yet broken out for the first time, so it's easy to cure. If your cultivation base was lost in the future and one planted a goo in you, then it'd be difficult to cure. In fact, paternal uncle emperor can ask the imperial physician of the empire to examine the center of the sole of your feet. There must already be initial symptoms of poisoning there. No need. Little girl, you can cure this poison, so it'll naturally seek you to cure it. Yun Tianqin displayed trust on his face. Lu Muyen smiled and said, then he'll have to go back and prepare a few spiritual herbs and treat it for you in a few days. She also added in her heart, and also give you time to investigate this kind of poison. Alright. The cure will depend on Lu girl then. After curing it, paternal uncle emperor will thank you greatly. Yun Tianqin was also anxious inwardly. If it truly was like what Lu Muyen said, then he'd face the complete loss of his cultivation base and end up being under Gu Yanting's control. He naturally wouldn't be reconciled. Originally, Gu Yanting was just a bait placed by the imperial family on the surface of the water, wanting to catch the big fish in the lake, yet who knew that he was poisoned by the bait after the wrong move? It truly was ironic. Lu girl, you said before that you wanted to make a deal with the imperial family. It shouldn't just be to cure your paternal uncle emperor, is it? The purple-clothed man smiled enigmatically. This girl was even more crafty than Lu Zhantian, that old little kid, and Lu Muyu, that slippery head. Bringing up Yun Tianqin being poisoned first was probably so that she could have an extra bargaining chip for the subsequent negotiations. If Lu Muyen knew ancestor Yun's guess, she'd probably clap her hands and pays him. The older the ginger, the spicier it was too. Naturally, it isn't only about the poisoning of paternal uncle emperor, that's just in addition to. Lu Muyen smiled sweetly and blinked her eyes at the purple-clothed man. Imperial ancestor, what if I said I still have marrow-cleansing pills? Haha. The purple-clothed man raised his head and laughed, restraining the shock and joy in his eyes. I just knew that you, girl, is even more crafty than your grandfather. Speak, how do you want to trade? Although he suspected that Lu Muyen still had marrow-cleansing pills in her hand, but he wasn't certain. After all, it was already incredible that so many such heaven-defying pills could spread around. Who knew that she really had some left in her hands? It seemed that the hidden master behind little Lu girl really pampered her dearly. No matter what conditions she made, their imperial family wouldn't suffer too much. Come true one, this was a bit tricky to translate. Is the name of a type of plant? The silk tree or acacia tree? I'm not good with botany lol. But it's also a euphemism for make love. I just went ahead and translated it into the euphemism meaning because it makes more sense, and that's exactly what the poison is. I'm sure everyone knows Whatkies, what with the super popular Reverend Insanity being all the hype these days, haha, at least it was everywhere in the FB groups I joined. Buck has also been used in a lot of sea novels too. It's mostly, if not always, depicted as a type of insect, and depending on the novel, the explanation of how to raise goo is different. In general, and in mythology, goo is a type of black magic, I guess, described as a type of poison where several venomous creatures, centipede, spider, snake, etc., are put into a closed container where they devour one another and eventually concentrate all their toxins into the lone survivor. There are some differing versions of the story, including things like what the goo is used for, where it originates, etc., but that's about it in general. 3. The older, the wiser, basically. Note, alrightio. First update of the day, another coming at 6 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time today too. Double updates will ideally continue until the end of the school holidays at the end of January, but as circumstances could change. As usual, we'll update changes. Chapter 133. Reach a deal. Both Yun Tianqin and Lu Zhantian were eagerly waiting to see what conditions for trade Lu Muyen was going to propose. Lu girl, how many marrow-cleansing pills do you still have? The purple-robed man's action of rubbing the Buddhist beads stopped and asked. Lu Muyen stretched out 3 fingers. There are 3 more. All of which can be traded to the imperial family. Alright. This eminence will allow you to make 3 conditions. As long as our imperial family can do it, we will promise you. Seeing Lu Muyen, this little girl, being so straightforward, the Yun clan's ancestor also bluntly promised. And in his heart he thought, this girl sure could hide things well. There were actually 3 more marrow cleansing pills. With his guess, that probably wasn't all. If he let those old things from the other clans know about it, then he might have to personally go out and request the pills for the imperial family. It was better to keep this a secret. Lu Muyen smiled sweetly like a little sly fox. Alright, imperial ancestor is much more straightforward than paternal uncle emperor. The corner of Yun Tianchen's mouth twitched. Last time this girl had extorted him using the energy-nourishing pill, and he only just hesitated for a little bit. Where was he not straightforward? She sure could hold grudges. Lu Muyen ignored Yun Tianchen's gaze that carried slight aggrievement and said to the Yun clan's ancestor, then I won't be polite in making my requests. Make them. First, if the Gu clan participated in the plan to assassinate me, then I want a right to deal with everyone in the Gu clan, including imperial noble consort Gu. Lu Muyen's eyes were sharp. She wouldn't allow the venomous snake of their Lu clan be handed over to anyone else to deal with. The Gu clan felt too weird to her, especially the use of borrowing external forces to forcibly advance their cultivation base, which was the same as those assassins. They definitely wouldn't be as simple as they appeared on the surface, and being merchants for royalty was probably also just a cover. Alright. Even if you don't touch the Gu clan, this eminence won't let them go either. There was a deep chill in the eyes of the Yun clan's ancestor. They dared to scheme against Yanzhou Kingdom's emperor, so they must prepare themselves to pay the price. Now that the Lu clan's girl wanted to deal with them, then he was happy to shake his hand off this matter. Lu Muyen nodded and continued, second, our Lu clan wants to build a private army of our own, not affiliated to the imperial family, but will never betray Yanzhou Kingdom. Yun Tianchen revealed a look of surprise. This Lu girl's courage was truly huge. His feelings of affection to the Lu clan were stronger than his wariness of them, so he wouldn't object it. He just turned his eyes to the purple-clothed man to wait for him to decide. The Yun clan's ancestor thought for a bit, then agreed, you can, but the number of people must not exceed 100. This girl, Lu Muyen, was a famous alchemist, and was also backed by Ming Xiu and the others. It wasn't difficult to build a strong private army. In order to not threaten the interests of the imperial family, he could agree, but must limit the number of people. 100 people would affect the imperial family but had no subversive power. No problem. Lu Muyen smiled lightly and agreed. Good armies weren't about quantity but about quality. The limit of 100 soldiers was also acceptable to her. The last point, you must allow me complete access and to take as I please from the imperial family's spiritual herb treasury. Seeing the Yun clan's ancestor and Yun Tianchen's expressions change, she chuckled and added, of course I won't take randomly, let alone empty the imperial family's spiritual herb treasury. Instead, I'll use certain pills to compensate, such as the energy-nourishing pill I gave you before. The list she issued last time contained a lot of rare spiritual herbs, and the imperial family provided them all. If she wanted to raise 100 people for the private army of the Lu clan, then it was naturally better to use other people's resources. Being able to save some of her own was a portion saved. Hearing Lu Muyen mention the energy-nourishing pill, Yun Tianchen's eyes lit up, and when the Yun clan's ancestor remembered what the enshrined alchemist had said, he was also interested now. The energy-nourishing pill had miraculous effects on internal and external injuries. Within it, there were several spiritual herb ingredients that even the enshrined grade 3 alchemist, who had studied it for several months, couldn't figure out what they were. If one wanted to obtain it, they had to find Lu Muyen. Come and read on our website Wuxiao World site. Thanks, we can promise you, but if it's just providing energy-nourishing pills and if the amount is too small, it wouldn't be effective on the battlefield. So we need you to reproduce a copy for the imperial family. The Yun clan's ancestor knew this request could be a little too much. After all, pill formulas were as precious as the life of an alchemist. But if Yanzhou Kingdom wanted to use it on the battlefield in large quantities, obviously it was impossible to wait for Lu Muyen to slowly refine it. The problem he thought about, Lu Muyen also was thinking about. As if she had that much energy to refine a large quantity of energy-nourishing pills or other pills to provide them. It was just a copy of the pill formula. She was also thinking the same, so she was happy to be more relaxed. I can. After she spoke, she immediately took out a blank jade slip, put it on her head, and she used her mental energy to replicate a copy of the energy-nourishing pill formula. Then she casually handed it over to the Yun clan's ancestor. This pill formula can be regarded as my sincerity in this cooperation. Little Lu girl is better than the others in the Lu clan in handling affairs. The Lu clan has a hopeful future. The Yun clan's ancestor reached out his hand and took the jade slip. He took a look with his mental energy and smiled at Lu Zhantian with a rare compliment. Lu Zhantian's tall and sturdy body straightened up with a face of seriousness and pride. The color blue is made out of indigo but is more vivid than indigo one. My family's yener is among the best of the best. Hearing Lu Zhantian's words, the three people, including Lu Muyen, couldn't help holding their foreheads. His skin sure was thick. Lu girl, this eminence can allow you to use the spiritual herbs in the imperial family's private treasury, but I hope you'll promise me a condition. The Yun clan's ancestor narrowed his eyes slightly and covered the cunning light in his eyes. Lu Muyen took a sip of tea and asked slowly, Imperial ancestor, please say. If your Lu clan wants to build a private army, then they must be raised with pills, right? The Yun clan's ancestor said with a smile. That's natural. I suppose the imperial ancestor wants the pills and providing for the Lu clan's private army? Lu Muyen guessed the old fox's thoughts accurately. Ha! The Yun clan's ancestor laughed heartily with a hint of appreciation in his eyes. Little girl sure is smart. Sure. It's just a few grade 1 and 2 pills. Just provide me with your spiritual herbs when the time comes, then find me 2 alchemists. They'll teach them how to refine them and just supply them together. Lu Muyen said with a smile, paying it no mind, but there were calculations in the bottom of her eyes. This sure was a big fish that came to her door. Not only did the imperial family provide the huge cost of spiritual herbs, now she could even use this to ask for 2 free alchemists to make pills for the imperial family and Lu clan. It saved time and effort and was mutually beneficial. Excellent. Yun Tianqin and the Yun clan's ancestor couldn't help but hold their foreheads. What did she mean by just a few grade 1 and 2 pills? Grade 1 pills were already very rare on the market and grade 2 pills were even more scarce. Even the auction houses of the Ming Chamber of Commerce Alliance rarely auction them. At once, perhaps only 1 or 2. If her indifferent tone was heard by the sword masters outside who waited for the pills to enter the market and be auctioned, then that was definitely going to pull aggro. But hearing Lu Muyen's tone, she didn't just know 1 or 2 types of grade 1 or 2 pills. Their hearts grew fiery with desire now. One must know that raising an alchemist wasn't just supplying them with resources. Without pill formulas, then it was like having ingredients for food but no recipe. Since Lu girl wanted alchemists, then they'd naturally give, and she could even train 1 or 2 for their imperial family. It was killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Deal. The Yun clan's ancestor immediately made a decision. Lu Muyen's beautiful eyes were as bright as the stars, straightforward. I hope we could cooperate happily. The 2 parties signed a contract at Lu Muyen's request. When they left the Imperial Pavilion Hall, Lu Zhantian quickly stuffed Lu Muyen into the carriage, then ran outside the hall and began to yell and curse, making the hidden spies unable to resist lighting a candle for him. Come true one, so this idiom just means the student surpasses the master. Chapter 134. Smithing Method. After returning to the Lu clan, Lu Muyen went to the smithing room first to see Huoshao. There was a secret courtyard in the Lu clan which was basically unknown to outsiders. After Huoshao arrived with Lu Muyen's letter, Lu Mou arranged for him to live in it. Lu Muyen still concealed her appearance. After entering the secret courtyard, she went to the specially built smithing room. As soon as she walked to the door, she felt a rush of heat. A layer of restrictions was placed at the door of the smithing room by someone. She raised her lips, swept the restriction with her mental energy, and found a loophole in a flower stand by the door. With a casual wave of her hand, a burst of elemental energy shot out and the restriction instantly revealed a gap that could just accommodate a person, and she immediately slipped in. With the restriction touched, Huoshao, who was currently smithing inside, yelled, "Who?" Lu Muyen didn't push open the door directly, but instead stood at the door and said one word, "Me." The door opened immediately and Huoshao, who had tangled, messy hair and wrinkled clothes, practically flew out from inside. "Little master, you're finally back." Huoshao felt that tears were about to wet his eyes. His master finally appeared. Lu Muyen glanced at Huoshao with disgust and went straight into the room, scanned the messy smithing room, and her brows furrowed unconsciously. She found what appeared to be a clean spot, sat down and said, "Huoshao, can you stop being so sloppy? Or was this like a smithing room? It was basically a pigsty." No, it was even worse than a pigsty. Huoshao knew that his little master liked cleanliness and found that the room was indeed messy, so he scratched his head in embarrassment and said, "Little master, I've been focused on studying a magic treasure and forgot to clean. I'll clean it up later." "How it is? Are you used to living here?" Lu Muyen also knew his natural disposition and no longer remained tangled up with the issue of hygiene. Either way, only Huashao himself lived here. Huashao nodded. I'm used to it, but I just miss Little Master. The corner of Lu Muyan's lips twitched slightly. What did she have that was worth for him to miss? Enough, I'm here to ask you about your future plans. Naturally, I want to follow Little Master. Huashao winked at Lu Muyan and made a look as if he had suffered bitterly and nursed deep hatred, saying pitifully, Little Master, you won't not want me anymore, right? Since I accepted you as a disciple, I naturally not want you. Lu Muyan pushed Huashao, who had neared her, away. Just how long hadn't this person taken a bath? In fact, I need to trouble you for something. You're my master, please tell me if you have anything to order. Saying you need to trouble me makes it feel as if I'm an outsider. Huashao said with a smile. Lu Muyan felt that she indeed didn't choose incorrectly when she accepted this disciple. She took out a jade slip from her interspatial ring and threw it to Huashao. This is a method for smithing which is perfectly suitable for you to use right now. You can come to me and ask if you have any questions. Huashao's eyes beneath his messy hair were astonishingly bright. He carefully took the jade slip and probed it with his mental energy to study. As he read and read, he unconsciously became engrossed by it. Half a day later, when he snapped out from reading the smithing method in the jade slip, he discovered that his little master was already no longer in the room. After hurriedly running out of the room and looking around, he found Lu Muyan drinking tea in the shade under some vines in the courtyard, enjoying the cool. Little Master. For Huashao, if at first it was because he was attracted by Lu Muyan's rich knowledge of smithing, then now, after reading the smithing method in the jade slip, he was completely loyal. This kind of smithing technique could cause a sensation in Tianling continent if it were revealed. Not to mention grade 3 or 4 smiths, probably even grade 5 smiths or even higher level smiths would desire it. Is there anything you don't understand after reading the jade slip? He'll stay in the imperial capital for 3 days. In the 3 days you can come to me to resolve any confusions. The smithing method that Lu Muyan gave Huashao was something that she had thoroughly studied countless times in her past life, so it was easy to answer any questions. Come and read on our website Wuxiao World site. Thanks, Huashao said with excitement in his eyes. I do. There's a part in this smithing method that said, Huashao told her all the parts he didn't understand before, and after Lu Muyan heard it, she gave out incisive answers with 2 or 3 sentences, which made him suddenly become enlightened. He didn't dare to underestimate this little master even more. There was even a feeling of worship for her that rose within him. One questioned and one answered like this for most of the day. Within the 3 days, Huashao was constantly studying this smithing method, and whenever he encountered any incomprehensible parts, he would go to the courtyard and ask Lu Muyan. Lu Muyan also didn't conceal anything and clarified for him one by one. On the 3rd night, Lu Muyan discussed with him again before leaving. Huashao, I have to leave the imperial capital for some time for some things. You can just stay in this courtyard researching the smithing method and stabilize your understandings as a grade 3 smith first. All right. He'll listen to everything Little Master says. Huashao was currently completely convinced by Lu Muyan, and there was only one thought in his heart. He'd follow her all his life with thickened skin and be hard to shake off. Lu Muyan smiled with satisfaction and said, I'm going to build a private army of 100 people for the Lu clan. Their magic treasures will be handed over to you to forge, and I'll let my dad send you the materials. What were disciples used for? After teaching, naturally they were used for hard work. Alright, I must build a private army with the strongest forces for Master. With Little Master's smithing methods, his smithing skills would be even better. Making high-quality magic treasures for 100 people would merely take some time and effort, but it was his honor to do things for his master. Lu Muyan nodded with a small smile and stretched out her hand to pat the cleaned Huashao. Smithing is a must, but you must also take care of your body too. Little Master, I'll combine work and rest like you said, so you can go to the Yi clan with an ease of heart. Leave the magic treasures the Lu clan needs to me. Huashao was deeply moved in his heart. After living for so long, no one had ever cared about his body. But he didn't display his feelings and instead remembered it in his heart. Then thanks for your hard work. Lu Muyan didn't hesitate to exploit this disciple, but she was also exceptionally generous. When she directly gave a piece of heavenly frost golden crystal to Huashao earlier, it almost frightened him stupid. It's not hard work. It's worth all the hard work as long as it's for Little Master. Huashao buttered up to her inwardly, feeling exceptionally pleased. Recognizing her as master was truly too correct. Bing Ji, who stood on Lu Muyan's shoulders, just didn't like that look of fawning and pursed his lips in disdain. Sycophant. Bald bird, you try and say that again. Huo rolled up his sleeves and wanted to step forward to take care of that colorful parrot that mocked him all day long. Don't think that just because you're little master spirit pet that your tail can turn upwards towards the sky one. Bing Jia's eyes were full of ridicule. Just you, a sloven, and you dare threaten this uncle too? TSK, go cultivate another 100 years. Do you believe that lousy 3 will pluck all your feathers out? Huo stretched out his hands to try to catch the colorful parrot. Lu Muyen couldn't help rolling her eyes. This human and that bird argued as soon as they saw each other. Her head hurt just from listening. Enough. Huo, you go back and rest. They'll be leaving. Lu Muyen stopped Huo's outstretched hand. Otherwise had definitely chased the bird all over the yard chaotically. Master. Huo looked at Lu Muyen aggrievedly. Why don't you stay one more night and leave tomorrow morning? He actually felt really reluctant for little master to leave. She was beautiful and kind-hearted, talented and had high comprehension. He really didn't know which stinky boy would be blessed with her in the future. Sloven you. Just as Bing Ji wanted to continue taunting, he was stopped by Lu Muyen's gaze that appeared to be throwing a cold knife at him, and he reluctantly shut his mouth. Come true one like stick your nose up to the sky, meaning to be arrogant. 2 arrogant term of self-address. 3 just a reminder that, lousy technically translates to your father but in this case, considering its usage in another novel of this author's translating it to your father is just weird. It's an arrogant way of saying I used often by men. I'm going to keep it as it is. Geez, these numerous self-addresses that they have to the point I can't even find any more translations for it. I'll note. So I realized that I used master to translate 2 different words, and, technically speaking, they're both translated as master everywhere else you look, Google, other novels etc. probably. But also has the meaning of owner, which is what Lu Muyen is to Bing Ji, while you'd often hear it as Shifu in English-speaking movies and shows or whatever, is a master that might teach you things like a teacher, but more intimate because being of someone usually means they teach you practically everything they know and you inherit most if not all their knowledge usually, and you, as a disciple, get other benefits like obtaining special magic tools or weapons or stuff much easier usually as gifts. Anyways, point is, if you see the words little owner or owner come out of Bing Jis speak in future chapters, to translate, that's me once again deciding to change the translation LO. Which means I'll also once again go back to change the translation in previous chapters, when I'm bothered XD. Chapter 135. Arrive at the Yi clan. Lu Muyen rode her horse straight to meet Yun Lan outside the imperial capital. She asked Lu Zhantian and Lu Mou for the time being, to carefully select 200 sword masters with potential from the Lu clan's army, and then shall personally select 100 of them to raise as private soldiers after returning from the Yi clan. The news that she hadn't died in the glacial mountain range was also temporarily sealed, so aside from the reliable people of the Lu clan, only a few superiors of the imperial family knew. The imperial family and Empire Academy also left a place for her to participate in the event after the trial selection. Taking advantage of the chaos in the imperial capital during this period, she rushed to the Yi clan to cure Elder Yi and Yi Qinglu. Meanwhile, Yun Lan wanted to find Yi Qinghan to exchange pointers, so she invited him to accompany her. When Lu Muyen arrived at the appointed place outside the imperial capital, she saw a tall, sturdy man riding on a pure black tailwind horse, waiting. Elder cousin brother, I made you wait. Lu Muyen rode up to Yun Lan's side and said apologetically with a smile. Yun Lan turned his head with compassion in his eyes. No problem, I also just arrived. Let's go. With a cue from Lu Muyen, her horse galloped away. Upon seeing this, Yun Lan quickly followed and asked as they rushed, Yenner, how's your eldest brother? He's already awake, but because he previously used the blood spirit skill, he injured some of his origin, so he needs some time to recover. Lu Muyen's eyes were filled with coldness. She must make those behind the scenes pay a heavy price. Originally, Lu Mubai wanted to follow them in their plan to go to the Yi clan, but because he was injured and received backlash from when he was in the glacial mountain range, he needed to recuperate, so he had to give up. Fortunately, she had learned some methods of managing and healing one's origin. Otherwise, without maybe 3 to 5 years, her eldest brother wouldn't be able to recover. Then that's good. Yun Lan sighed in relief. Yenner, how do you plan on taking care of the Gu clan? The methods used by those in black to forcibly increase their strength was exactly the same as that displayed by Gu Yenran. It was absolutely impossible to say that there weren't any connections between the two. I'll wait until they reveal their own cloven hoof one. I always have a feeling that the Gu clan's very weird. What they want to achieve isn't trivial. She decided to lure the snake out of the cave to see what the Gu clan's purpose was. If they're really colluding with other kingdoms, Yanzhou Kingdom would be in a disadvantageous position. I wonder if Emperor Father is on the alert. Yunlan sighed. Lu Muyen chuckled. Paternal Uncle Emperor is very shrewd. Always indulging the Gu clan's growth was probably for the purpose of throwing out bait to catch the bigger fish. In the future he can use the wealth and resources that the Gu clan accumulated over the years for himself too. It was just a pity that everything was almost ruined by the bait. But she had cured Yun Tianchen's poison before she left, so she believed Gu Yenting wouldn't succeed. Are you saying that Emperor Father knew that the Gu clan's hearts were impure? Yunlan had an epiphany. Lu Muyen nodded. I guess paternal Uncle Emperor is playing a game of chess, and the Gu clan is a key chess piece. So that's how it is. No wonder some of the actions of Emperor Father made me slightly puzzled. But now that I think again it seems normal. Yunlan thought deeply. Lu Muyen didn't tell Yunlan about his Emperor Father being inflicted with the love-making poison. How is paternal aunt? Empress Mother has been fascinated by arrays recently and has been studying arrays all day long. I think she's been pretty well. Yunlan's expression softened a lot when he mentioned Lu Mozi. His former Empress Mother constantly revolved herself around Emperor Father and had no self to speak of. Now that she had something that interested her, it appeared that her whole person had a brilliance she previously lacked with a strange charm. As long as paternal aunt knows what she wants, then that's fine. Lu Muyen also smiled in relief. On this continent where strength was respected, women couldn't always rely on men. The two chatted while rushing and 10 days passed quickly. The 10 distinguished clans were first-rate forces of the eastern region. They were distributed in 10 big cities near each other, and they were located in the core area of the eastern region. Come and read on our website Wuxiao World site. Thanks, the prosperity of each of the 10 distinguished clan cities were not inferior to that of the imperial capital and was even larger and more prosperous. When the two approached Luoshi City near the Yi clan, the sky had gradually dimmed already, and the afterglow of the rays of evening sunlight enveloped the entire towering city, giving it a taste of dusk. Entering Luoshi City was the same as entering Glacial City, both needing to pay a certain amount of ink gold coins which could guarantee one's safety in the city. Fighting and killing weren't allowed, otherwise they'd be punished by the Yi clan of the city lord's mansion. After entering Luoshi City, the two didn't live in an inn, but instead directly went to the city lord's mansion. The city lord's mansion was located in the golden location of the southernmost section of Luoshi City. It was towering and dignified, and even carried a simplistic and unsophisticated aura. There were 2 teams of guards guarding the gate, but there weren't any Qilin statues at the gate of the mansion like other mansions. Instead, there were 2 tall and majestic Tier 4 white Lin Lion demonic beasts guarding it. Both demonic beasts carried a strong sense of righteousness and squatted on their heels on the side without being distracted. As long as someone approached, they would cast fierce gazes towards them, and those who had little courage simply wouldn't even dare to pass. It deserves to be a clan of spirit beast masters well known throughout the entire eastern region. They used Tier 4 demonic beasts just to guard the house. Yunlan couldn't help but sigh with emotion as he dismounted his horse and stared ahead. Lu Muyen smiled. How can you rank second without the means and skills? Roar. Seeing outsiders approaching, the 2 white Lin lions roared at them with warning. With a smile on Lu Muyen's face, the beast-taming method operated in her dantian, and she pulled Yunlan, walking directly forward. Ever since she advanced to the cultivation base of Sword King, she could start to use some secret skills. The first layer of the beast-taming method could also begin to operate. As long as the cultivation base of the demonic beast was lower than hers, then she could soothe them all. The 2 white Lin lions suddenly felt a sense of comfort from her, and instantly became quiet. The 2 groups of soldiers that guarded the outside were surprised to see the 2 pass by the white Lin lions safely. The 2 lions reacted a little at first, but now they just squatted on the ground and the ferocious looks in their eyes had long disappeared. The captain of the guards, who had better judgment, scrutinized the 2, then greeted them with a smile. May I ask what the reasons for your arrivals at our city lord's mansion are? Lu Muyen took out a jade pendant with the word Yi engraved on it and handed it to the capital of the guards with a faint smile, saying, "In the friend of your young lord Yi Qing Han. Give him this pendant and he'll naturally know who we are." The head guard took a look at the jade pendant and his eyes couldn't conceal the shock. This was the young lord's personal token. It was now in the possession of this gorgeous woman with an otherworldly temperament. It seemed that their relationship wasn't simple. "Young miss, sir, please wait a moment, I will report it right away." The head guard's attitude became much more friendly, and after speaking he asked others to take Lu Muyen and Yunlan into the Yi clan's reception hall. Lu Muyen and Yun Lan exchanged a glance, then walked through Yi Clan's gate with a smile. The Yi Clan city lord's mansion had white marbled steps and carved railings, fine terraces and exquisite rooms, crimson roofs and glazed tiles, high buildings and towers, waterside pavilions and caved fences, all covered with one glance. The most important thing was that every other scenery would be separated by an array. If someone accidentally broke in and didn't understand arrays, then they'd be trapped and be unable to find the exit. After the guard brought the two to the reception hall, they told someone to serve 2 cups of tea, then stood aside like an old monk sitting in meditation, unmoving. Lu Muyen picked up the blue and white porcelain teacup with inked bamboo and took a sip. Suddenly there was a rush of footsteps from outside the door. Muyen. There were strange emotions hidden in Yi Qinghan's voice, and a tone of pleasant surprise spouted out from his lips and echoed in the hall. Come true one saying meaning shall wait until they reveal their own true nature. Chapter 136. First time casting her interpersonal network. One first heard his voice then saw his person. Yi Qinghan was still dressed in a dark patterned black robe and had an outstanding temperament, but if one looked closely, one could still find that in addition to his excitement, there was also a slight haggard feeling. Qinghan. Lu Muyen put down the teacup and stood up with a smile. Yun Lan also got up and greeted, Young Lord Yi. When Yi Qinghan saw that aside from Lu Muyen, Yun Lan also came, he was surprised in his heart but didn't reveal it on his face. There was still a slight smile on his face. Muyen, third prince, take a seat. Yi Qinghan sat down opposite the two of them and there was less of a feeling of distance compared to when he faced others. Muyen, third prince, you two didn't even send a message before you came. I could have prepared. He didn't want to believe that Lu Muyen was dead when he was in the glacial mountain range. He originally wanted to wait for her to come out of the lava pool, yet who knew that he and his younger sister were forcefully knocked unconscious by his little paternal uncle and taken away. After returning to the Yi clan, he had constantly been inquiring about any news of Lu Muyen. Little paternal uncle had told him that Lu Muyen was already saved by Monarch Ming, and he believed it firmly in his heart, but had been worried the entire time, and had been absent-minded in everything that he did. Now that he personally saw Lu Muyen alive without any losses, his heart that was hovering had finally been placed back down. I came here to cure Elder Yi and Qing Lu. My elder cousin brother wanted to discuss sword skills with you. It was all spontaneously decided, so we didn't send news first. Lu Muyen smiled. Where's Qing Lu? Qing Lu is attending to some guests. I've already asked people to call her. As soon as Yi Qinghan's words fell, Yi Qinglu rushed in from outside the gate, then hugged Lu Muyen and rubbed her shoulder with her head. Elder sister Muyen, I just knew you'd be fine. Lu Muyen's heart softened a bit and she reached out her hand to pat Yi Qingle's head, then said with a smile, I've got a lot of luck. Yi Qinglu let go of Lu Muyen and sat next to her, affectionately hugging her arm, saying, Elder sister Muyen, you didn't even say a word in advance before coming to the Yi clan. You made elder brother and I worried to death. Well, isn't it so that I could give you both a surprise? Lu Muyen scraped her beautiful nose with a bit of pampering in her eyes. I was just wondering why Qing Lu was running so fast, so it turned out that young Miss Lu came. A clear and melodious voice sounded in the hall. As soon as Lu Muyen looked up, Shi Feng, Mu Yi and a beautiful woman in blue came in. This is. Lu Muyen smiled lightly and looked at the woman who spoke. She had seen this woman before, but they had never spoken to each other. My name's Mu Xia. We saw each other at the glacial mountain range last time. Mu Xia's attitude was rather friendly, and she wasn't hostile to Lu Muyen like Xueling and the others. Lu Muyen smiled softly. Greetings, young Miss Mu. Ever since the glacial mountain range, I've been more interested in young Miss Lu. Don't mind making a friend? Mu Xia said naturally and unrestrained with a smile. Naturally, I don't mind. Lu Muyen usually preferred refreshing and straightforward women, so her impression of Mu Xia was rather good. Yi Qinglu smiled broadly. Elder sister Muyen, Mu Xia is also my best friend. I can see it. Lu Muyen was very lenient on the lively and cheerful Yi Qinglu. Young Miss Lu, third prince. Shi Feng and Mu Yi nodded to them. Lu Muyen and Yun Lan also exchanged a polite greeting. Young Lord Shi, young Lord Mu. Who knew that young Miss Lu could survive even after falling into that lava pool? You've truly hidden your skills well. Mu Yi said with a smile. Come and read on our website Wuxiao World site. Thanks, it was just a fluke. Lu Muyen said modestly. Mu Yi lowered his head and smiled, obviously not believing in her excuse, but he didn't say much in fear of rousing dislike from her. Yi Qing Han checked the time of day and stood up, saying to the few people, "Dinner is ready, let's take a seat at the table together." Sure. The several people were led by Yi Qing Han to the dining hall for dinner. After dinner, Yi Qing Le hugged Lu Muyan's arm tightly and said enthusiastically, "Elder sister Muyan, sleep in my courtyard tonight." Lu Muyan just so happened to want to check on Yi Qing Le's body, so she nodded, "Sure." Young Miss Lu can heal Elder Lu's chronic illness? Shi Feng remained expressionless and silent ever since their meeting to the end of the meal, and only lifted his head to ask when Lu Muyan and Yi Qing Lu were about to leave. Why there was any connection between Lu Muyan and Yi Qing Han? All of the 10 distinguished clans except the Ling clan had gone to investigate the reason, so they naturally also knew that Lu Muyan had treated Elder Lu before. Indeed. Lu Muyan didn't conceal it either. "I came to the Yi clan this time specifically to treat Elder Lu and Qing Lu." Soon, Shed removed the fetal poison for Yi Qing Lu, so instead of letting these people investigate it themselves, it was better to say it herself. It could even instead rouse good feelings of her among them. Judging from the familiarity between Mu Yi Shi Feng and Yi Qing Han, the relationship between the 3 clans in secret was probably very intimate, and there had long been an alliance. She wanted to help the Ling clan deal with the Shui clan and Xian clan, so it was the best choice to develop a good relationship with these 2 young lords. But in this continent where strength was respected, there were prerequisites for forming a good relationship. In terms of impressive family backgrounds, the Lu clan was inferior to the 10 distinguished clans, so Mu Yi and Shi Feng wouldn't lower themselves on purpose to befriend her just because she was the Lu clan's descendant, or because she was the granddaughter of the Ling clan. Aside from family background, the only reason for these proud, favored children of heaven to be completely convinced and befriend someone was only strength. She was an alchemist. In others' eyes, she couldn't be compared to the alchemists of older alchemist clans like the Shi clan, but if she could cure the chronic illness and poison that even the Shi clan's grade 4 alchemist couldn't cure, then even if she didn't take the initiative, the 2 clans' younger generation would naturally want to think about befriending her. This time, she came because she thought that participating in the continental tournament for hegemony would delay some time, so she took some time out to come to the Yi clan to cure the poison for Elder Lu and Yi Qing Lu first. 1, it was because of the promise, and 2, because of her affection towards them. It's just that now she actually met the Shi clan's young lord and the Mu clan's young lord, then she'd naturally have to get acquainted with and befriend them. Those that lived in this world and silently cultivated alone were generally those wandering cultivators who had no one to depend on and without anything to care about. As a daughter of the Lu clan, she needed to share the burden for her clan, and so it was also important to associate with powerful forces and cast her interpersonal network. And the one thing that alchemists and smiths didn't lack were social connections. This was something that she had already deeply experienced in her previous life. A high-level alchemist or smith didn't even need to take the initiative to make friends with others, and there'd still be countless people who sent themselves to their door to weave a reliable network of connections. With one word, numerous powerhouses would become the forces behind them. This was also one of the reasons why the Shi, Mu and Yi clan have been standing in the top 3 of the 10 distinguished clans for forever, and one of the reasons why the other clans simply didn't dare to provoke them. To cure Qinglu? You can cure her fetal poison? Mu Xia's eyes were filled with bewilderment and suspicion. Although Lu Muyan displayed strong combat power, but the poison that even the ancestor of the Shi clan couldn't cure after trying, could a teenage sword master cure it? Obviously it was incredulous. Shi Feng didn't display any excessive expressions on his face as usual, but there was a hint of interest in his eyes. In his heart, he also didn't think that Lu Muyan could cure Yi Qing Le's fetal poison, but he wanted to see just what she possessed to be so confident. "Young Miss Lu, if you don't mind, could you let me watch how you cure the poison? Come true." Chapter 137. Pretending to be calm or actually capable? Hearing Shi Feng ask this, let alone Mu Yi and Mu Xia, even Yi Qing Han wanted to. Lu Muyan smiled indifferently and said, "You can, but I need to treat Elder Lu's chronic illness first. Do you also want to watch?" Elder Lu's chronic illness was much easier to treat than Yi Qing Le's fetal poison. "Young Miss Lu is so generous, then I won't be polite." Shi Feng nodded. Many years ago Elder Lu was injured by a sword monarch's sword aura. His meridians were blocked and his cultivation base halted. The Yi clan also used to spend high prices to invite many pharmacists or alchemists to treat him, and even a grade 3 alchemist of their Shi clan came to see him. But in the end they ended up unable to heal the illness. He had also studied Elder Lu's chronic illness and thought of a method, but it was too dangerous, so he had never proposed it. Now he wanted to see just how Lu Muyen cured this type of chronic illness. Muyen, you don't mind if 2 more people watch, right? Mu Xia's heart also felt as if it had been scratched by a cat one. Yi Qinglu was her bosom friend. If she couldn't cure the fetal poison, then she wouldn't live past 18 years old. Even if she didn't believe that Lu Muyen could cure it, she still felt an inexplicable hope rise in her heart. I don't mind. Lu Muyen didn't care how many people watched her treatments. She had a calm and firm disposition, and few people could affect her from applying needles. Muyen is indeed straightforward. I'm definitely befriending a person like you. Mu Xia liked women who weren't pretentious, and Lu Muyen's straightforwardness suited her taste very well. Lu Muyen smiled at her, turned her head and looked at Yi Qinghan, saying, Qinghan, find a peaceful and quiet place and invite Elder Lu over, please. All right. Yi Qinghan ordered the people behind him, then took the several people to a quiet courtyard in the Yi clan. The people chatted idly and waited, while Lu Muyen and Mu Xia also felt as if they had been friends for many years and were very agreeable with each other. Especially Mu Xia. She found that no matter what she was talking about, Lu Muyen had things to say and was very insightful. Even Mu Yi and Shi Feng, who were sitting by their side, couldn't resist but look askance at them. About a quarter of an hour later, Yi Zhan in a simple attire, and an elegant middle-aged man walked in, followed by Elder Lu and a red-haired old man. Yi Qinghan and Yi Qinglu were surprised to see both of them. Dad, little paternal uncle. Uncle Yi, Senior Yi. Mu Yi and the others immediately stood up and greeted the two in front formally. Nephews and nieces are too polite. The elegant middle-aged man waved his hand with a smile, then cast his eyes on Lu Muyen and said, smiling, This is the little girl of the Lu clan, yes? Greetings, Uncle Yi. Lu Muyen addressed politely. We welcome you and the third prince to the Yi clan. Yi Qin displayed some kindness in his eyes, and he and Yi Zhan walked to the other side and sat down. Let's all sit. Elder Lu and the other old man in red also found a place to sit, then they looked at Lu Muyen together. I've heard that Lu girl doesn't mind others watching when treating illnesses. Yi Zhan and I also came to join in the fun. If it's inconvenient, then we'll leave first. Yi Qin smiled and said to Lu Muyen. Lu Muyen said neither humbly nor haughtily, this junior does not mind. Her tone was very light, evidently not nervous about 2 big Buddhas too watching her. Her humble attitude carried confidence, which actually made everyone here think even highly of her. Lu girl, feel free to let loose your hands and feet 3 and perform freely, we won't disturb you. This was a guarantee. Lu Muyen nodded with a smile, then walked to a seat beside Elder Lu and sat down. Elder Lu, how have you been? Greetings, young Miss Lu. This old man is very glad to be able to see young Miss again. Elder Lu's tone was very affectionate towards Lu Muyen, and his eyes hid faint excitement. Come and read on our website Wuxiao World site. Thanks, I'll take your pulse first. Elder Lu stretched out a hand and put it on the table between the 2 seats. Please? Lu Muyen placed 2 fingers on Elder Lu's wrist, and she also probed into his body with a sliver of mental energy to understand the situation. After a while, she retrieved her hand and asked, Recently, when the chronic illness breaks out, the pain isn't as severe as before, right? Ever since the last time young Miss treated me with the golden needles, I'm no longer pained to the bones, nor wish to rather die than live, which were things that I used to feel every 3 months when it breaks out. Even if there is a little feeling of pain, it was just like tickling, as if nothing. Elder Lu smiled sincerely. Elder Lu, is it that you can now absorb some spiritual force and run it in your dantian, but it can't remain for a long time? Lu Muyen continued to ask. Elder Lu nodded. Indeed, but this old man is already very pleased to be able to absorb spiritual energy again. It is all thanks to young mistreatment last time. Elder Lu is too polite. Lu Muyen smiled. I already have a cure for your chronic illness, and I can cure it as long as I refine a pill and pair it with the golden needles. If the young miss can truly cure this old man's chronic illness, then this old man will owe you a life. Elder Lu clasped his hands together tightly. Only he could deeply understand the feeling of having found something again that he had lost. Lu Muyen smiled lightly and said, I had a deal with Qinghan before, and he's already paid for the fees for your treatment. I'm just here to fulfill it, so Elder Lu has no need to be this formal. Elder Lu, just take the treatment with a peace of mind. I'll discuss with Mu Yen about the repayment. Yi Qinghan looked at Elder Lu with a smile on his lips. Just let him repay this favor. Elder Lu wasn't quarrelsome either, so he cupped his hands at Lu Muyen, gratefully saying, A mere thank you is an insufficient response to such a huge favor. Then I will trouble young Miss Lu. Lu Muyen took out a brush and paper from her interspatial ring and wrote a list to hand to Yi Qing Han. These are the spiritual herbs I need to refine the pill. Please prepare a portion. As soon as Yi Qing Han was about to take it, the red-haired old man next to Elder Lu smiled and said, "Little girl, can you let this old man take a look at your spiritual herbs list?" Lu Muyen knew the other was also an alchemist, so she smiled and passed the paper into his hands directly. The red-haired old man took the list and read it once, then confusion rose in his eyes. He had never seen a pill formula composed of these spiritual herbs before, and he had a thought in his heart: I have all these spiritual herbs in my interspatial ring. Will little girl refine the pills now? He really wanted to see what this little girl was capable of, and what kind of pills she wanted to refine. Then I trouble Senior to take out the spiritual herbs. They'll refine it now. Lu Muyen also didn't want to delay any more time. All these people remained here undoubtedly because they wanted to see her capabilities, so Shell just confidently and naturally let them see enough. The red-haired old man didn't hesitate either, immediately took out the spiritual herbs that Lu Muyen required from his interspatial ring one by one and placed it in front of her. These spiritual herbs weren't that rare, but they were mostly medicines for dredging and promoting blood circulation. He usually carried some with him, but who knew it could be of use now? Lu Muyen swept the spiritual herbs on the table with her eyes. Seeing that the age of each were relatively high, she took out the cyan cauldron with satisfaction and was ready to start refining pills in front of everyone. Muyen, do you need us to withdraw for you to refine pills? Yi Qing Han knew that many alchemists liked to work independently when refining pills and didn't like to be disturbed by outsiders. Lu Muyen didn't expect Yi Qing Han, a man, to be so attentive, but she didn't have those habits. She had already refined pills in front of the imperial family before, so whether there were people or whether there were none didn't have much effect on her. No problem, no need to withdraw. Her words also increased the interest in the eyes of the people present. They sure wanted to see if she was just pretending to be calm, or whether she was actually capable. Translated product by May Hour Come True. One feeling as if a cat scratched one's heart simply means they were very curious. Like itching with curiosity. Two Buddhas here simply means important people. It can often be used sarcastically, though in this case, it's just merely used to describe two significant people. 3. Telling Lu Muyen to have no qualms and do what she needs to, basically to relax herself. Chapter 138, Messing Around? Or Well-Hidden Skills. Under everyone's expectations, Lu Muyen threw a wisp of fire condensed from fire elemental energy into the cyan cauldron. She hadn't formed a core yet, so she couldn't use the core flame, but this continent had one factor that was better than the immortal cultivation world, and that was elemental energy condensation. After advancing to Sword King, the elemental energy flames that she condensed to use for refining pills weren't inferior to core flames at all. Of course, if she used the purple gold spirit flame to refine pills, then it'd be the best, but she didn't want to expose her trump card. Shi Feng and the red-haired old man stared at her refining pills and were startled when they saw that she had thrown the spiritual herbs into the cauldron one after another in a row. This little girl truly is messing around. Where do you see such a way of refining pills? The red-haired old man couldn't help furrowing his brows as he communicated telepathically to Shi Feng. After all, there were only the two of them here who were alchemists. Shi Feng folded his arms and sat quietly, but his heart couldn't calm down. Is she trying to combine the spiritual herbs together to refine? How could so many spiritual herbs combine to refine? Even your Shi clan's ancestor couldn't do it. I really question if she's just playing with us. The red-haired old man said angrily. Elder Lu and he were close friends. He was excited for a long time after hearing that someone could cure Elder Lu's chronic illness, yet who knew he'd see such a disappointing scene. Alchemists needed to follow the principle of gradual progress when refining pills. After each spiritual herb was successfully refined, then they'd continue to refine the second, then eventually combine all the refined powders to condense the pill. But what was the Lu clan's little girl doing? Throwing all the spiritual herbs into the cauldron indiscriminately? Did she think she was cooking? Even when cooking, there was an order to the ingredients, right? Seeing Lu Muyen's actions, Yi Qin and Yi Zhan couldn't help but feel a sense of disappointment in their hearts as well. Although they weren't alchemists, but they'd seen many alchemists refine pills. Lu Muyen's approach wasn't like something an alchemist should do. Could it be that she didn't know alchemy at all and was just teasing them? But Elder Lu's condition was indeed controlled by her. Although disappointed, but no one in the room stopped Lu Muyen. They sure wanted to see how this girl would cure Elder Lu's chronic illness later. Lu Muyen naturally felt the complicated and disheartened gazes of several people, but she didn't care. What others couldn't do didn't mean she couldn't do it either. Her mental energy was several times, or even dozens of times that of other alchemists. Others could only slowly refine the spiritual herbs one by one, but she could do multiple tasks at the same time and divide her spiritual energy into countless strands to envelop the spiritual herbs, control the flames and refine. The most important thing was that she didn't want to hide her abilities here. She needed the approval of these three distinguished clans in order to act more easily in the future. With a thought, Lu Muyen divided the flames in the cauldron into more than a dozen wisps, individually roasting each spiritual herb wrapped in mental energy. In just a moment, several small piles of different colored powders appeared in the cauldron, and they were all separated by mental energy. The cauldron actually didn't explode? The red-haired old man let out a soft gasp of surprise. He was originally counting down the time, waiting for Lu Muyen's cauldron to explode due to the random refining, but after waiting for so long no abnormalities occurred. The most important thing was that he actually smelled the scent of successfully refined medicinal powder from the cauldron. Shifeng's expression didn't change, but he was very surprised and confused in his heart. How did she refine so many spiritual herbs at the same time? Yi Qin tapped his finger gently on his thigh. Seeing Lu Muyen calmly continuing to throw spiritual herbs into the cauldron, he spoke telepathically to Yi Zhan. Say, do you think she can really refine so many spiritual herbs at once? If it were under normal circumstances, she'd have failed the refining long ago. But I don't smell any burnt scent. Maybe. Although she's young, but she hides her skills well. Yi Zhan had always felt that Lu Muyen gave him an indescribable feeling ever since they first met. She seemed to be faintly dangerous, yet it didn't make sense. However, he didn't regard her as an opponent to be removed. That slight sense of danger was just an instinct, but there wasn't any feeling of terror, which indicated that Lu Muyen wouldn't be a threat to him. Lu Muyen had a variety of methods, but as long as she didn't disadvantage the Yi clan, then they could become friends. Come and read on our website Wuxiao World site. Thanks. The several people no longer spoke and watched Lu Muyen refine pills nervously. Seeing that she was still tossing spiritual herbs into the cauldron one after the other, they couldn't resist twitching their lips. This sort of method of refining pills was probably Lu Muyen's original creation. After about an hour, Lu Muyen had refined all the spiritual herbs in the cauldron. With a thought, the dozens of wisps of flames merged and formed a cluster of large flames. The medicinal powders of different colors were wrapped by mental energy and merged together. She constantly changed the heat between small flames, medium flames and high flames. Finally her gaze sharpened. She controlled the fire excellently, and the rudimentary pills in the cauldron began to rotate, slowly growing lustrous and shiny. Up. After another quarter of an hour, her slender jade-like hands slapped the cauldron, and 5 yellow pills flew out. A refreshing pill fragrance also spilled out from the cauldron, lingering on the tips of everyone's noses. She took out a white porcelain bottle, waved her hand casually in the air, and the 5 pills that had flown up fell into the porcelain bottle one after the other. After removing the elemental energy flame from the cyan cauldron, Lu Muyen also put the cauldron away. As soon as she looked up, she saw everyone stare at her with shock. Especially the red-haired man and Shifeng. Their gazes were as if it could burn a hole through her. Little girl, what kind of pill did you refine? The red-haired old man looked at Lu Muyen in confusion. He had been staring at this little girl since she began to refine pills. All the spiritual herbs had indeed been used, and he could judge based on the pill fragrance from the cauldron that this was a type of grade 2 pill that had the effect of dredging the meridians and promoting blood circulation. However, it was obviously not enough to treat Elder Lu's chronic illness with just these grade 2 pills. He suddenly looked forward to the next performances of the little girl. Shifeng's eyes were filled with the desire to investigate. Lu Muyen's method of refining pills was simply unheard of. If it were another alchemist who dared to refine it like this, then the entire cauldron perhaps would have long been trashed. In such a short period of time, to be able to refine a grade 2 pill that they had never even seen before, it seemed that she really must have a mysterious high-level alchemist as a master behind her. This is a grade 2 vitalizing pill, specifically used to clear meridians blocked by sword auras or internal injuries. Lu Muyen explained with a light smile. Then how were you able to refine, merge and condense so many spiritual herbs into a pill altogether? The red-haired old man's heart itched with curiosity and felt uncomfortable if he didn't ask. Lu Muyen raised an eyebrow and said, "Regarding this, please forgive me as I have no comment." He couldn't just tell them, "My mental energy is much stronger than yours, you all need to be focused when refining pills," but I can split my focus into multitudes. If she really said that, then even if she wasn't slapped to death, she'd probably be regarded as having some sort of mental illness. Lu Muyen answering like this instead made her more mysterious in the eyes of those present. It was only normal not to reveal such a secret. The red-haired old man also found himself to be abrupt and smiled awkwardly. Apologies, this old man didn't intend to seek your methods of refining pills, I was just curious. Lu Muyen knew it was also unintentional. No worries. Elder Sister Muyen, you're too amazing. When Uncle Wu refines pills, I don't even feel like he's as relaxed, calm and composed as you. Yi Qinglu had a face filled with admiration. The Uncle Wu she spoke of was the red-haired old man who had questioned Lu Muyen just now, and also the chief enshrined grade 3 alchemist of the Yi clan. Come true. Chapter 139. Show off again, eradicate chronic illness. Elder Wu had always been open-minded, so he agreed with Yi Qingle's words. Little girl is indeed a good seedling for alchemy. Elder Wu revealed admiration in his eyes, then asked, I heard that you already have a master. Lu Muyen nodded and admitted. With such a talented disciple like you, your master must wake up with a smile from dreaming, right one? Elder Wu joked. He secretly pitied that such a good seedling was dug up again by others and taken. When could he find a talented and satisfactory disciple himself? Lu Muyen smiled humbly. Elder Wu gives too much praise. Even she didn't know where her master was, so whether he'd wake up smiling from a dream or not was a real question. Although I've never seen your grade 2 pill, but from the pill fragrance I smelled just now, it's indeed top quality. But it's still not enough to treat Elder Lu's chronic illness, right? Elder Wu spoke the doubt in his heart. Lu Muyen took out a box made of 1,000-year ice from her interspatial ring and said, Indeed it's not enough. I also need to use the golden needles and coordinate it with the pill to cure Elder Lu's chronic illness. Then you can start. This old man won't hinder you anymore. There was a look of expectation on Elder Wu's face. Lu Muyen handed the white porcelain bottle to Elder Lu and said, Elder Lu, pour out one pill and take it, then push all the power of the medicine into the damaged and blocked meridians. All right. Elder Lu took the porcelain bottle, poured out a yellow pill and put it into his mouth without hesitation. When the power of the medicine was forcibly controlled by him to spread throughout the meridians in his entire body, he said, Done. Lu Muyen took out a special dark golden needle from the profound ice box and warned him, there may be some pain when I'm treating with the golden needles. If Elder Lu can't bear it, just say so. Young Miss Lu needs only to set your mind at ease to do what you need. As long as you can get rid of the chronic illness and I can cultivate again, he'll be willing to endure the pain no matter how painful it is. Elder Lu relaxed himself completely and said with a smile. In the past 10 years or so, every 3 months his illness would break out. He could even endure pain that made him rather die than live. Now that they were going to cure his illness, he wouldn't cower even more. Lu Muyen nodded with a smile, snapped her fingers, and a wisp of scarlet flame made from elemental energy condensation came out of her fingertip. She took the gold-colored needle and passed it over the flame before preparing to apply needles on Elder Lu. As soon as she took out the long golden needle from the profound ice box, everyone felt that there was a fluctuation of metal attribute elemental energy in the room. Heavenly Frost Golden Crystal. Mu Yi stared at the dark, golden needle in Lu Muyen's hand with wide eyes and couldn't help exclaiming. The others followed his voice and moved their eyes to the dark golden needle in Lu Muyen's hands. After a closer look, it turned out to indeed be the Heavenly Frost Golden Crystal. Then they scanned the profound ice box and there were actually more than 20 dark golden needles of varying lengths lying inside. With a look, it was obviously a set. This girl really was a prodigal. Where would one find anyone who wasted Heavenly Frost golden crystals like this? This was what everyone present thought. Yi Zhan looked deeply at the golden needle made by Heavenly Frost golden crystal in her hand. Then he remembered the Heavenly Frost golden crystal in his interspatial ring that had been frozen by an array and was difficult to crack, and also couldn't resist holding his forehead. This girl wasn't only a prodigal but was also a little fox. After she cured Elder Lu's chronic illness, he had to have a good discussion with her. Elder Wu looked at the Heavenly Frost golden crystal that had been refined into golden needles, feeling his flesh hurt. He could no longer describe his feelings. This girl was actually here to provoke people today, right? Lu Muyen actually didn't want to take out such cool golden needles, but using golden needles made by Heavenly Frost golden crystal was indeed more conducive to curing Elder Lu's chronic illness, so she could only be a bit high profile. Come and read on our website Wuxiao World site. Thanks, Did this girl snatch the heavenly frost golden crystal? Yi Chen asked Yi Zhan telepathically in astonishment. Yi Zhan smiled bitterly, no. That day Monarch Ming snatched 3 pieces and Lan Si and I took a piece each. Although Lan Si's one was swapped back for me, but it must be for himself. The one in little Lu girl's hands must be from Monarch Ming. It seems that the relationship between her and Monarch Ming really isn't shallow. Could Monarch Ming be the respected master behind her? Yi Chen guessed that with Monarch Ming's status in the 9-layer hall, he shouldn't be too young. Plus it was said that Lu Muyen had a mysterious master yet had never revealed themselves before. But with the familiarity between the two, they probably had a master-disciple relationship. Yi Zhan pondered for a while, then telepathically said, "That's hard to say, but if you can give the heavenly frost golden crystal to little Lu girl to be so prodigal with, then the relationship wouldn't be ordinary even if they're not a master-disciple relationship." Whenever they spoke of the heavenly frost golden crystal, Yi Chen felt his flesh hurt. This girl is too prodigal. The heavenly frost golden crystal was used by her to refine into golden needles for treatment just like this. If the other old fellows from the 10 distinguished clans knew, then wouldn't they be so furious? She's just that different from others. Otherwise Qing Han wouldn't have fallen for her. Yi Zhan's lips revealed a very faint smile. Yi Chen sighed. He also noticed his son's recent abnormalities. He was originally still a little opposed to him constantly thinking about a legendary trash from a small clan of Yanzhou Kingdom, but after seeing Lu Muyen today, he discovered that this sort of woman was indeed very attractive to people. She was full of spirit, was clever and bright, and had exceptional talent. The most important thing was that she wasn't humble nor haughty when doing things, not arrogant or impetuous, and carried a self-confidence and uninhibitedness. Among the younger generation of women in the eastern region, Lu Muyen was the girl with the best behavior and temperament. What trash, it seemed that those couldn't be trusted at all. The divination of the divine seer had never been wrong before, and this time, was also made fact on Lu Muyen. Seeing Lu Muyen this time had completely changed the impression Yi Chen painted of her before, and he decided not to object to the fact that his son liked her. Such a woman was indeed qualified to be the future mistress of his Yi clan. She started applying needles. Yi Zhan's gaze always followed Lu Muyen. Elder brother, watch carefully. She has her own set of methods for performing the art of the golden needles. Hearing this, Yi Chen immediately looked towards Lu Muyen and found that each time she used the golden needle, it was like forming an array, like forming seals in mid-air, drawing something before piercing it into Elder Lu's body. He rubbed his chin and watched with some interest. Every time Lu Muyen applied needles, she'd collect spiritual energy that had been filtered in her green sea of fog onto the needle. She discovered that the filtered spiritual energy had the effect of repairing. The dark golden needles of various lengths seemed to come alive in her slender fingers. They constantly pierced into Elder Lu's body or pulled out and burned by the flame on her fingertip made by elemental energy condensation, then continued to be applied. Her movements were graceful, her face was so serious that others couldn't disturb her, and her forehead was gradually covered with a layer of fine sweat while her hands kept moving. Everyone quietly watched her apply the needles as if this wasn't a medical treatment, but a golden needle performance, exceptionally brilliant. Elder Lu gritted his teeth tightly. Not only did the prickling sensation all over his body not make him feel uncomfortable, but instead he felt extremely excited. Those meridians that had once been blocked for more than 10 years were actually able to accommodate to the passing of the needle auras, and the feeling he once felt during the height of his power and splendor as a Sword King was slowly returning. Elder Wu stared at her applying the needles without blinking and his eyes grew more and more shocked. This truly was a marvelous skill. On Shi Feng's seemingly paralyzed face was a rare trace of astonishment. He stared, dumbfounded, at Lu Muyen applying the art of the golden needles, and attempted to remember every movement of hers. Finished. 2 hours later, Lu Muyen withdrew all the golden needles, revealing a satisfied smile on her gorgeous face. Come true, one a saying that means someone is so satisfied and happy about something even in his dreams. So her master must be exceptionally proud, happy, and satisfied. Chapter 140. Prepared to extort. Lu Muyen finished in one go and performed the art of the golden needles to an exceptionally high level. The treatment was much better than expected. Elder Lu's closed eyes opened instantly, and a gleam of sharp light flashed through his cloudy eyes. He moved the muscles and bones of his whole body and felt a trace of spiritual force spontaneously enter various meridians. It wasn't drained as fast as usual and instead, sunk into the dantian along the meridians. The meridians previously injured by sword auras were all dredged, and even the years of internal injuries and hidden illnesses were healed by Lu Muyen. The spiritual force in the Dantian gathered around bit by bit, and he once again felt an abundance of elemental energy throughout his entire body. He was so excited tears almost rose in his eyes. Young Miss Lu, a mere thank you is an insufficient response to such a huge favor. If one day this old man can be of use to you, then please don't hesitate to give orders. Elder Lu cupped his hands at Lu Muyen with gratitude. Elder Wu immediately got up and took Elder Lu's hand to feel the pulse while using his mental energy to inspect his meridians. His eyes were filled with shock. Is this art of the golden needles a legendary divine skill? Lu Muyen smiled without answering. She learnt this art of the golden needles from a genius doctor when she turned into a mortal in the mortal world. Later, she found a method that could naturally combine with the application of the needles in the heavenly grade alchemist's place of inheritance. That's why whether it was healing mortals or healing cultivators, its effects were all the same. If one wanted to call it a divine skill, then it wasn't as if they couldn't. She had always been very fortunate that she could obtain the inheritance of this art of the golden needles. Shi Feng pressed his lips together and couldn't help but stand up and take Elder Lu's other hand to investigate. The shock in his heart was no less than Elder Wu. Young Miss Lu, this one is truly impressed by your art of the golden needles that you performed. Shi Feng praised from the bottom of his heart. His original treatment method was far more dangerous than Lu Muyan's, and it didn't even heal at this speed or effect. This kind of golden needles art was something that could even convince the ancestors of the Shi clan if they came to observe. You two have overpraised, everyone has their own strengths. Lu Muyen smiled modestly. Moreover, this time the length of treatment could be so short, and the fact that recovery is much faster than expected, was all thanks to this set of golden needles made by heavenly frost golden crystals. Elder Lu basically recovered after applying the golden needles, but that was in fact actually mainly because of the filtering effect of the green sea of fog in her body, and also the credit of the ice bangle. Except that it wasn't good for her to reveal that, so she pushed all the credit onto the golden needles made by heavenly frost golden crystal. Of course, the heavenly frost golden crystal was basically a spiritual item birthed from heaven and earth. After swallowed by a demonic beast, it could even help them shape their yaofu and break through a bottleneck, so it also had miraculous effects when performing golden needle treatments. When Elder Wu and Shi Feng heard this, they couldn't resist twitching the corners of their lips. She sure spoke lightly. A heavenly frost golden crystal was hard to find even in 1,000 years. When sword masters obtained a small piece, didn't they all use it to refine magic tools? Who'd be so prodigal like this girl? Little girl, is this the only set of golden needles made from heavenly frost golden crystal you have? Elder Wu asked as he looked at the golden needles in the 1,000-year profound icebox with fiery eyes. Lu Muyen smiled calmly and said, yes. I got a small piece from Monarch Ming and used it all to refine this set of golden needles. If Elder Wu wants to forge some, then I could help. She paused, then blinked and added, Senior Yizhan still has a piece of heavenly frost golden crystal. Yizhan looked at her without a good attitude. This little fox. The heavenly frost golden crystal in his hands had greater use. How could he be such a prodigal like her? Elder Wu glanced at Yizhan and dispelled the thoughts in his heart. Such a spiritual item could only be encountered by chance, so he didn't force it. This old man was just joking. Elder Wu smiled shyly. Elder Yi, don't you have 2 heavenly frost golden crystals in your hand? Can you possibly cut your love and give me a small piece? Our Shi clan will definitely give you a rich gift of thanks. Shi Feng was a medical madman. Aside from alchemy, he also liked to study medical skills. This time, seeing Lu Muyen using the golden needles to heal the illness, his heart also itched to give it a try. Mu Yi's eyes moved, and he clasped his fists to Yizhan and said, Senior Yi, our Mu clan is also willing to spend a high price in exchange for a small piece of heavenly frost golden crystal. Yizhan smiled helplessly. Even though I did obtain 2 pieces of heavenly frost golden crystal, but after exiting the glacial mountain range, Lan Si swapped that piece back. The remaining one is of great use to me, so you two can only think of other ways. Come and read on our website Wuxiao World site. Thanks. When the two heard him say this, their eyes revealed disappointment. They came to visit the Yi clan this time, 1 for the things regarding the continental tournament for hegemony, and 2 to inquire about Yizhan's attitude, seeing if he could cut his love and give a small piece. But now it seems there's no show. Lu girl, you have a deep relationship with Monarch Ming, perhaps you have more heavenly frost golden crystals. Yizhan turned the conversation on its head and threw the topic to Lu Muyen again. Mu Yi and Shi Feng's disappointed eyes lit up and they looked at Lu Muyen one after the other. No more. It wasn't easy for me to get some heavenly frost golden crystal from him to refine this set of golden needles already. He's so stingy that he won't even give me any more. She complained with a look of innocence and loveliness. She secretly said in her head, Ming Xiu, he'll just borrow your reputation to use a bit. Her attitude made everyone present think deeply. With such an intimate tone, the relationship between Lu Muyen and Monarch Ming must indeed be extraordinary. Originally, their attitude towards Lu Muyen was more of recognition. Now, because she had exposed her ability and Monarch Ming behind her, it also made the Yi clan seniors, Shi Feng and Mu Yi, feel the desire to befriend her. That's truly a pity. Mu Yi pulled out a smile with a little disappointment in his voice. But those things indeed couldn't be forced. Mu Yen must be tired, do you want to go rest first? Yi Qinghan saw Lu Muyen reveal slight weariness, so he piped up and said with a considerate smile. Lu Muyen nodded, it really takes some effort to perform this art of the golden needles. Elder sister Mu Yen, you can follow me to my courtyard to rest. Yi Qingla stood up and walked to Lu Muyen's side, hugging her arms affectionately. These old guys sure weren't ashamed of having ideas for Lu Muyen one by one. Yi Qin and Yi Zhan glanced at each other and said with a smile, Little Lu girl indeed worked hard today. Go down and have a good night's rest first. Tomorrow let Qinghan and Qingla take you and the third prince to Luoxi city for a tour. Sure, then Mu Yen will bother you. Lu Muyen replied politely with a smile. After returning to Yi Qingla's courtyard with her, Lu Muyen said that she was tired and went back to the room to rest first. When she returned to the room, she took out some spiritual tea to brew, poured 2 cups, and picked up a cup to taste first, obviously waiting for someone. Sure enough, it didn't take long before there were a few very small knocks on the door. Senior Yi, please come in, she whispered. When she and Yi Qingla left, Yi Zhan had telepathically told her that he had something to discuss that night, that's why she prepared herself and waited for him to come. She also naturally knew what he wanted. Yi Zhan pushed open the door, then closed it again after entering. He walked to the place opposite Lu Muyen and sat down. He first took a sip of the spiritual tea in front of him, then placed it down and said with a smile, Little girl really has very good tea-making skills. But it's a pity that the quality of this spiritual tea is too poor. Lu Muyen chuckled slyly, can't be helped, I'm too poor, can't afford to drink high-quality tea, how about Senior Yi aid me a bit financially? The last time she met Ming Xiu, she forgot to ask for high-level spiritual tea. Since Yi Zhan took the initiative to deliver himself to her door, then she'd feel too sorry for her own appetite that she had raised to be picky if she didn't extort some. Yi Zhan looked at her amusedly and couldn't help but curse inwardly, Little fox. Translated product by Mayar Come True. Chapter 141. Bet on me. Lu Muyen's eyes narrowed into a crescent shape, and she displayed a rare look of a young cunning girl. Yi Zhan also knew that he would definitely be extorted of something by this little fox, so he took out 2 cans of high-quality spiritual tea he had collected from his interspatial ring. These are 2 of the best spiritual teas in the eastern region. Consider it as a meeting gift for you, little girl. Lu Muyen's bright eyes gained a radiance. She picked up a can of tea and opened the lid. A strong, fragrant scent flowed out, making one feel refreshed. The other can were spiritual tea's tea tips. The process of picking and frying was exceptionally complicated and was even more precious. She put away the 2 cans of tea with a smile. Senior Yi is really generous, then Mu Yen won't be polite. Yi Zhan's eyelids twitched. You can still be polite? I wonder what Senior is here to find me for? Lu Muyen asked lightly and took a sip of her spiritual tea. You can call me Uncle Yi from now on. Yi Zhan also didn't dislike it and took a sip of tea as she did, then said leisurely, You don't know why I'm looking for you? Little girl, the freezing array on the heavenly frost golden crystal is you're doing right? Changing from Senior to Uncle Yi was also to express that he regarded Lu Muyen as important. Lu Muyen wasn't quarrelsome either. Uncle Yi, you should be able to crack that array, right? Yi Zhan was an unfathomable person. Although he was only at Sword Sovereign cultivation base, but he instinctively made her feel a mysterious aura. She believed that this person would be able to crack her array as long as he took some time. Indeed, I can crack it, but it takes too much time. Since you're here in the Yi clan, then why should I do such useless work? His time was very precious. Lu Muyen played with the teacup in her hand, her eyes deep, then said after a while, Can I ask Uncle Yi a matter about the Shui clan of the 10 distinguished clans? Ask. Yizhan knew that Lu Muyen valued the Ling clan a lot, and he didn't like the Shui clan's ungrateful style of doing things either, so it didn't hurt to sell a personal favor to this little fox. The Shui clan really only has two sword sovereign powerhouses? Aside from working with the Enchanting clan privately, which other clans do they have close contact with? Ever since Lu Muyen saw the Shui clan sword sovereign and Shui Ling in the glacial mountain range, she had always felt that their appearance wasn't truthful. Yizhan raised his head to face Lu Muyen and smiled lightly. You girl sure observes carefully and considers things deeply. The Shui clan indeed has more than two sword sovereign powerhouses. The Shui clan's ancestor is actually someone else, and this person is already at peak phase sword sovereign cultivation base. He's currently in life or death seclusion in order to break through to sword venerable. I secretly received news that another pupil of the Shui clan broke through to sword sovereign, but they had hidden it and not announced it, so there are now 4 sword sovereigns in their clan. Their overall strength is actually only second after the top 3 distinguished clans. As for the other distinguished clans that the Shui clan has close contact with, I only know that there's also the Lu clan that's ranked 7th. Before, when the others were targeting the Ling clan, however, the Lu clan didn't participate. Yizhan also didn't conceal anything and told Lu Muyen everything that he knew. Lu Muyen furrowed her willow brows. It seemed that the Shui clan was indeed a thorny opponent. Little girl, you better not focus on dealing with the Shui clan and Enchanting clan right now. The Ling clan isn't as weak as you think. Otherwise they'd long have been kicked out of the ranks of the 10 distinguished clans. Yizhan had a favorable opinion of Lu Muyen, this junior, so though he rarely reminded people, he did to her. Lu Muyen's lips raised into an arc and she blinked as she asked, then where does Uncle Yi think my current focus should be placed? Come and read on our website Wuxiao World site. Thanks, naturally it should be placed on the Continental Tournament for Hegemony. Yizhan also knew that this little girl was a slippery head, so she must understand this principle. If you ranked in the top 100 and joined a sect, then are you still afraid you can't handle a little Shui clan? Uncle Yi, have you ever been to the other regions? Lu Muyen had actually always wanted to go to the other regions for a look. I've only been to the western region bordering the eastern region. I haven't been to the largest region on Tianling continent, the southern region, and the second-ranked northern region. Yizhan's eyes also revealed a look of yearning. Most of his previous time was spent on cultivation. Now that he had advanced to sword sovereign, he clearly felt that it was harder to break through the bottleneck, and it was much harder to improve his cultivation base. After he refined the heavenly frost golden crystal into a magic tool, he had decided to travel to the other 2 pieces of the continent and believed he had the ability to protect himself as well. I heard from the principal of Empire Academy that the eastern region is the weakest among the 4 major regions, and even the 10 distinguished clans can only be ranked as third-rate forces in the other regions. Lu Muyen was rarely able to find someone to inquire about the news of other regions, so she continued to ask. Yizhan nodded, indeed. The entire Tianling continent is very wide and there are countless hidden clans. They're basically distributed in the northern and southern regions. Even the 6 major sects are built in the northern and southern region. Our western and eastern region basically can't be compared to them at all. Then do you know the 9-layer hall? Ming Xiu's figure rose in Lu Muyen's mind, and she couldn't help asking again. Yizhan looked at her with a smile yet not quite a smile and said, little girl, your questions have surpassed one matter by too much. Lu Muyen secretly cursed Yizhan old fox, but she didn't express it and said with a smile, then does Uncle Yi want something from me? Do you have a pill that can enhance the strength of a demonic beast? Yizhan asked after some silence. Lu Muyen's eyes revealed faint surprise then said, I do. Is it useful to demonic beasts of transformation stage? Yizhan's eyes revealed rare fluctuations. Uncle Yi, you think too highly of me, no? Lu Muyen shrugged and said, I'm just a grade 2 alchemist. If I can refine a pill that can improve the strength of a demonic beast at the transformation stage, then I'd have been directly poached by the 6 major sects long ago. Why do I still need to sit here? She really didn't have pills that could enhance the strength of transformation stage demonic beast. She couldn't refine it either with her current cultivation base. Yizhan lowered his head and smiled. He was thinking too much. If Lu Muyen could really refine a pill that could improve the strength of transformation stage demonic beasts, then she'd probably be a monster. But, though I can't refine it now, it doesn't mean that I won't be able to refine it in the future. Lu Muyen revealed a confident brilliance between her brows and said with a smile, Uncle, you might as well make a bet right now and bet on me. If I become a grade 4 alchemist in the future, it'll benefit you a lot. Yizhan chuckled, his eyes filled with pardoning. Since you have such confidence in yourself, then I might as well bet on you. Uncle Yi, you really have good eyesight. Don't worry, you won't lose. Lu Muyen revealed a joyful smile. Aside from that guy, Ming Xiu, this was the first time that she had such a pleasant conversation with a sword sovereign powerhouse. The nature of the method that Yi Zhan cultivated contained and pardoned everything. He was also charismatic himself, didn't put on airs and had integrity. Such people were worthy to befriend. Of course, she didn't know that the pardoning and amiability wasn't the case in front of everyone. Ha! The clear and sweet male voice echoed in the room. Because Yi Zhan arranged a soundproof elemental energy cover, it didn't overflow out of the room. You girl is really interesting. Then can Uncle Yi talk about 9-layer hall now? Come true. Chapter 142. The harvest. From questioning, Yi Zhan took a sip from his teacup and concealed the smile on his lips. The 9-layer hall is a mysterious force in the southern region. It rarely appears in public but is an existence even the 6 major sects don't dare to easily provoke. Lu Muyan's eyes were like ink as she continued to ask, "Is Monarch Ming the hall master of the 9-layer hall?" "Yes." The corner of Yi Zhan's lips raised. Monarch Ming has only started roaming around Tianling continent in the last 3 years. His identity is extremely secretive and few people know it. Don't tell me that with the relationship between you and him, you still don't know these things? Yi Zhan was a little curious about just what sort of relationship it was between Lu Muyen and Monarch Ming. Lu Muyen smiled gracefully. Monarch Ming and I are just casual acquaintances. I had never inquired about the 9-layer hall from him, otherwise I wouldn't be asking Uncle Yi. Just being a casual acquaintance would make someone jump into the lava pool, disregarding their own life to save you? Would gift you a piece of the heavenly frost golden crystal that will even be madly contested for by high-level powerhouses in the southern and northern regions? Little girl, who are you fooling? Yi Zhan raised an eyebrow, as if had believed the two of them were just casual acquaintances. He wouldn't happen to be the mysterious master behind you, would he? Then Yi Zhan asked tentatively. Lu Muyen remained slightly smiling, her eyes clear. Whatever you say is what it is then. Yi Zhan couldn't help but roll his eyes at Lu Muyen. This girl really was a sly fox. What did she mean by whatever he said was what it was then? It was obvious that she didn't want to reveal the relationship between them. I've answered all your questions, now it's your turn to do something, right? Yi Zhan no longer dwelled on the topic. Everyone had their own secrets, so he didn't want to delve into it. Lu Muyen nodded in cooperation. Take out the heavenly frost golden crystal. Yi Zhan took out the heavenly frost golden crystal that was still wrapped in ice and handed it to Lu Muyen. Are you able to resolve it now? Of course I can. Lu Muyen promised. She wrapped her hands over the heavenly frost golden crystal, muttered a few obscure words, then beams of red light shone from the slits between her fingertips and instantly melted the ice on the heavenly frost golden crystal. Then a jade-colored rune belt circled the heavenly frost golden crystal, shining lightly and fluctuating faintly with elemental energy. She pointed 2 fingers and muttered, "Scatter." The jade-colored rune belt appeared as if it had intelligence as it jumped from the heavenly frost golden crystal and sunk into her body instantly. Done. Lu Muyen handed the heavenly frost golden crystal, with its array broken, back to Yi Zhan. Yi Zhan played with the heavenly frost golden crystal in his hands and discovered that there was no trace of arrays on it at all. His evaluation of Lu Muyen was even higher now. This girl didn't only have exceeding talent in cultivation, and exceeding talent in alchemy, who knew that she'd even have such talent in arrays as well? Who knew how many people will be envious of her in the future? No wonder they said that people who had the terminal meridian's constitution were actually the real favored children of heaven. Fortune and misfortune were interdependent. Lu Muyan's talent after eradicating the terminal meridian's constitution could indeed be considered the best among prodigies. Even if placed among the talents of the younger generation in the 2 southern and northern regions, she wouldn't be outdone. Your talent in arrays is also very strong. You can already choose 3 among the 6 major sects. Yi Zhan's eyes revealed some praise. 3 among them? What? Lu Muyen didn't know much about the 6 major sects. After all, Yanzhou Kingdom was only a medium-small kingdom in the eastern region and the information they knew was very limited. Cultivation talent, alchemy talent, array talent. 3 of the 6 major sects have the advantage in these 3 specialties. Yi Zhan hid some regret in his eyes. What I know about the 6 major sects is only superficial. After all, there were practically none who entered a sect after participating in the continental tournament for hegemony from our eastern region each time. Why is it that I heard that Xueling's talent was so good that she could enter a sect directly after the tournament for hegemony? Lu Muyen asked in confusion. Yi Zhan smiled disdainfully. It isn't like it's that difficult for the pupils of the main bloodline with some talent to enter a sect, but that's only an outer titular pupil. The possibility of becoming an outer core pupil or an inner pupil is basically zero. Come and read on our website Wuxiao World site. Thanks, of course. There are also those exceptionally talented, tough-minded pupils who choose to be an outer titular pupil. Then with their own efforts and by taking some appropriate opportunities, they may also soar into the sky. However, none of the superiors of the 10 distinguished clans are very supportive of this choice. Entering the sect like this is only just slightly good for the reputation. Yi Zhan thought a bit, then said, the Shui clan deliberately released this kind of news probably because they wanted to successfully put pressure on the Ling clan and annul the engagement. Xueling had always been a focus in the Shui clan to raise. Their goal must be to obtain a rank in the top 100 in the continental tournament for hegemony and not just to be an outer titular pupil. So that's how it is. Lu Muyan's lips curled coldly. Xueling wanted to be ranked in the top 100 in the continental tournament for hegemony? As long as she was here, then she'd definitely prevent this scourge that could endanger the Ling clan and Lu clan from entering into the top 100 and become an outer core pupil of a sect. Little girl, do you still have anything else to ask? Though, I only know the surface of things about the 6 major sects in the southern and northern regions. I believe that you'll come into contact with that broader world one day and you'll naturally come to understand it then. No more. I would like to thank Uncle Yi for resolving my confusions today. Lu Muyen smiled lightly and thanked. Although she only extorted 2 jars of high-level spiritual tea today, but it was also a great harvest to be able to gain so much information from Yi Zhan with her questioning. Yi Zhan's handsome and beautiful face revealed a soft, gentle smile. He stood up and said with a smile, today, you also spent a lot of energy on the treatment of Elder Lu. I won't bother your rest now. Uncle Yi, take care. Lu Muyen got up and saw him off. After Yi Zhan's figure disappeared into the night, Lu Muyen closed the door in thought. Early the next morning, Lu Muyen heard a knock on the door right after she just got up. She opened the door and saw that it was indeed Yi Qinglu and Mu Xia. Qinglu Mu Xia morning? Elder sister Muyen morning? The two walked into the room and greeted her at the same time. Elder sister Muyen, let's go to the famous stream reflection restaurant of Luoxi City for breakfast. Yi Qinglu smiled sweetly. Lu Muyen nodded and said with a smile, well, do whatever you have planned today. Luoxi City was even bigger than the imperial capital of Yanzhou Kingdom, and she also wanted to wander around casually. Then let's go. Elder brother, Mu Yi and the others are already waiting in the front hall. Yi Qinglu smiled and pulled the two out of the yard quickly. Lu Muyen discovered that Yi Qinglu had a special excitement for going out. Qinglu, aren't you tired of roaming Luoxi City? How could I be tired of it? Yi Qinglu's eyes darkened. Then she smiled optimistically and cheerfully said, I actually only wandered around Luoxi City 3 times. I was detained at home by Daddy all year round because of my weak body. If it weren't that I took a medicinal pill to suppress the fetal poison before going to the glacial mountain range, and its effect hadn't yet faded, I wouldn't even be able to go out with you. At this time, Lu Muyen also remembered that Yi Qinglu was accompanied by the fetal poison all year round and usually didn't have much energy to wander around. She held Yi Qinglu's hand tightly, smiled and promised, Qinglu, I will definitely heal you. I believe in elder sister Muyen. Yi Qinglu smiled beautifully with trust and sincerity in her eyes. In fact, even if Lu Muyen couldn't cure her illness, she wouldn't blame her. She got close to Lu Muyen not for the purpose of curing her illness. It was simply all because of the fate of one glance. The first time they met, she simply just liked this woman who was only 1 year older than herself, and she always felt a kind of intimacy in her heart. She believed that this was just a kind of fate between them. Chapter 143. The secret in the belly of the fish. Luoxi City was located in the core area with the most spiritual force in the eastern region. Even if one only walked on the streets, one could still feel the spiritual force that was more than 10 times denser than that of Yanzhou Kingdom. The group departed from the Yi clan and went for a short boat trip on the scenic central lake of Luoxi City first. In the central lake, a wide variety of fish or aquatic demonic beasts swam around, occasionally leaping up, then happily landing back down. This was the first time that Lu Muyen had seen this sort of scenery. She sat in the boat's cabin with great interest and watched the colorful fish swimming in the crystal clear water. Occasionally, a demonic beast would swim out from the bottom of the lake, either to go eat some fish or threaten the other fish for fun. The central lake in Luoshi City is very interesting, right? Mu Xia gently shook a celadone wine cup and said to Lu Muyen with a smile. Indeed, very interesting. Lu Muyen said with a light smile, thought a bit then asked, there are so many demonic beasts in the lake, aren't people afraid they'd hurt someone? These demonic beasts had long been tamed by the Yi clan, and they won't hurt people. Yi Qinglu replied. Lu Muyan's calm eyes fluctuated slightly. So it turned out that the Yi clan kept such a lake specifically for the clan's pupils to practice beast-taming skills. She wondered just who came up with such a method. It truly was ingenious. Owner, let me out, I can smell the scent of Jiangchuanglin fish. The voice of Bing Ji sounded in her sea of consciousness. Lu Muyen held her forehead. That stinky bird really couldn't stay quiet wherever they went. But she also didn't want to restrain him for too long, so she released him from the spirit beast bangle. Everyone felt Lu Muyan's spirit beast bangle fluctuate slightly, and an even-colored parrot fell on her shoulder. Little owner, one day apart is like passing 3 autumns. One, Bing Ji misses you to death. The moment Bing Ji came out, he used his head to rub Lu Muyan's shoulder, filled with flattering. Little owner was beautiful and fragrant, he would never go back into the spirit beast bangle again. Piyu. Mu Yi couldn't resist spitting out some wine after he heard the flattery of the 7-colored parrot. Lu Muyen, this woman really had everything. Lu Muyen couldn't help but twitch her lips. Couldn't this stinky bird be a bit more normal? Can you show off a little bit of the imposing manner of a tier 8 demonic beast? Bing Ji's body stiffened, then he said without a care, how can I show off the imposing manner of a tier 8 demonic beast when you guys suppressed my demonic energy? Besides, shouldn't one live life on this world freely and without restraint? Hearing the last sentence, Lu Muyan's eyes showed a rare look of approval. What this stinky bird said was also reasonable. Yi Qinglu looked at the 7-colored parrot curiously. Why did this ordinary-looking animal secretly exude a fearful pressure? Elder sister Mu Yan, your parrot is also a demonic beast? After Yi Qingle's question, Yi Qinghan and the others looked up at Lu Muyen. Although they couldn't feel any demonic energy fluctuations from the 7-colored parrot, but they could still feel that he was extraordinary. He's a tier 6 demonic beast. Lu Muyen also didn't conceal it. Otherwise, when the day came that Bing Ji revealed his true form, he'd be exposed anyway, so it was better to be honest. Ah. Yi Qinglu looked at Bing Ji a few more times in disbelief. Can a 7-colored parrot also cultivate to tier 6? It's truly unheard of. Mu Yan's 7-colored parrot must be the transformation of some bird-type demonic beast, right? Yi Qinghan looked at Lu Muyen with a smile that wasn't quite a smile. Lu Muyen nodded. Indeed, that's how it is. Her calm expression and her excuse made everyone here admire her, and even envied her good luck. Of course, luck was also a part of strength. Come and read on our website Wuxiao World site. Thanks, they all thought that Lu Muyen's master helped contract this tier 6 spirit pet for her, and it could only be justified in that way. Lu Muyen, this woman, wasn't only amazing in terms of her combat power, and very strong in her alchemy talents, she was also secretive in other aspects. Qinghan, my bird's craving the Jiangchuanlin fish in this lake, do you mind doing me a favor? Lu Muyen asked Yi Qinghan with a smile. Yi Qinghan waved his hand without care. Eat as much as you want, it's fine even if you eat all the fish in the lake. Go, but remember to take it easy. Lu Muyen turned her head and warned Bing Ji. Otherwise, with this stinky bird's natural disposition, he'd definitely eat all the Jiangchuanlin fish in the lake. Bing Ji pursed his lips, then flew out of the cabin and plunged into the lake, swimming here and there. Very soon he swallowed one Jiangchuanlin fish after another. This bird can also swim, how curious. Mu Xia stared at Bing Ji's figure swimming in the water and her eyes were filled with interest. Lu Muyen smiled. Could she say that he wasn't actually a normal bird but instead a Cyan Wan divine beast descendant? Is there a shop in Luoshi City that sells spiritual herbs and spars for smithing? She asked, changing the subject. Naturally there are, but high-level spiritual herbs and smithing spars are basically all sold at auctions or the headquarters of the Ming Chamber of Commerce Alliance. If you want to buy, then we can accompany you to stroll around when we get off the boat. Yi Qinghan explained. Mu Yi pondered for a bit and asked, Mu Yen can also smith? Just scratching the surface of things. There's a smith at home, so I want to buy some materials to ask him to refine some magic tools for the juniors in the clan. Lu Muyen took a sip of wine. The taste was alright but lacked spiritual force and actually made her have the thought to brew spiritual wine. Hearing what she said, all of them felt relieved. If she could even smith, then it'd really be a blow to their pride as the favored children of heaven. It's a pity that you don't learn smithing with such a deep comprehension of the fire elemental energy law. In the future, learn more from the smith of your clan and maybe you'll become a master in smithing of the generation. Mui said half-jokingly. Lu Muyen nodded and said, I do have that kind of thought, but I don't have the extravagant hope to become a master in smithing of the generation. Although she knew a lot of smithing methods, but she actually didn't have a thorough understanding of smithing, and she was also only equivalent to this world's grade 5 or 6 level. Compared with the real masters of smith clans, she was still inferior. The only thing she did aside from placing her energy on cultivation in her previous life was immersing herself in studying alchemy and arrays. She, herself, wasn't very interested in smithing, and if it weren't because she wanted to refine her natal magic tool, she wouldn't deliberately learn it either. And even though she had the advantage of having been a body fusion stage almighty in her previous life in the immortal cultivation world, as well as having countless resources in cultivation, but she wouldn't underestimate the sword masters of Tianling continent. She had always known the principle that there were mountains higher than another. As for smithing, she guessed that guy Ming Xiu's grade definitely wasn't low and he probably actually had amazing talent. After Bing Ji had eaten up 2/3 of the Jiangchuan Lin fish in the lake, Lu Muyen immediately recalled him. I told you to take it easy, but you're about to eat up all the Jiangchuan Lin fish in the lake. Lu Muyen secretly rolled her eyes at Bing Ji, who still looked as if he was not yet satisfied. Little owner, it's because you haven't ever experienced the delicacy of the Jiangchuan Lin fish. This kind of fish isn't so simple. Bing Ji smacked his lips and telepathically said, How is it not simple? She also guessed that the Jiangchuan Lin fish must have an aspect that attracted Bing Ji. This kind of fish will produce a pearl-like blue bead in its belly which contains the essence of water, which is helpful for comprehending the water elemental energy law. Bing Ji didn't conceal it either and even said with some pride, The most important thing is that the wonderful effect of this essence of water isn't known to everyone, and I just happen to know this secret. There must be a special way to absorb the essence of water, right? Lu Muyen asked after a little pondering. Translated product by Mayar Come True. Big customer. Even if 1 or 2 people couldn't discover the wonderful effect of the bead in the belly of the Jiangchuan Lin fish, it couldn't be that thousands, tens of thousands of people couldn't even discover it? She suspected that it was a talent of the Ice Luan race. That's of course. Bing Ji raised his beak proudly and his small eyes rolled around, but if owner wants to learn this special method, then I can teach it to you for free. Lu Muyen's eyes lit up. She could comprehend all the elemental laws of this world and had comprehended the fire elemental energy law the deepest, followed by the ice element. If she could comprehend the water element law more deeply, then that was even better. Can the blue beads in the Jiangchuan Lin fish be preserved? Lu Muyen telepathically asked. Naturally it's possible. But there's practically no one on this continent who knows the wondrous effects of the beads in the Jiangchuan Lin fish, so there shouldn't be anyone who would collect these water essences. Bing Ji said as he used his beak to comb his feathers. Lu Muyen's lips overflowed into an arc, then looked at Yi Qing Han and asked, A blue bead will appear in the abdomen of the Jiangchuan Lin fish, do you guys keep it? Although the blue beads contain some water elements, but they're of little use. The clan's warehouse seems to have collected a bunch for research purposes and hasn't been used up. Yi Qing Han thought a bit. If you want, I'll look for it after I go back and give it to you. Then many thanks. Lu Muyen stretched out her hand, gently flicked the head of the 7-colored parrot on her shoulder and said with a smile, This glutinous little thing just likes to eat that kind of blue bead the most. Bing Ji's eyes twitched. Little owner, right now it's obviously you who needs the essence of water, but you still blame it on me? Though the beads are useless, but they're delicious, so the more the better. But a divine beast is beneath the eaves of another, so he must bow his head one. Bing Ji could only cooperate with Lu Muyen, and so he said. Yi Qing Han chuckled softly, No problem. The boat's docked, let's get off and wander around the city. Yi Qing Han saw that the boat had docked, so he said to the others with a smile. Sure. After entering the main street of Luoxi City, Lu Muyen discovered that this place was several times more prosperous than the imperial capital of Yanzhou Kingdom. Sword masters riding demonic beasts were everywhere on the streets, forming a special landscape. Are all the people living in Luoxi City Yi clan's people? Lu Muyen asked Yi Qing Han, who walked side by side with her. These sword masters would all respectfully greet Yi Qing Han. Most of them had demonic beasts by their sides, so they were probably all spirit beast masters. Not all. Luoshi City is a city under the jurisdiction of the Yi clan. Most of these people come from branches of the Yi clan, but there are also some who are outsider sword masters who settled here. Though most of their identities are spirit beast masters. Yi Qinghan explained. Lu Muyan's eyes revealed understanding. No wonder the sword masters we encountered along the way basically all had demonic beasts as transportation. This really is worthy of being known as the city of spirit beast masters. Although there are many spirit beast masters in Luoshi City, but more than 9/10 remain as grade 1 or 2 spirit beast masters. Those grade 3 and higher are all in the Yi clan. Speaking of this, a smile and confidence rose on Yi Qinghan's handsome face. Then Qinghan's spirit beast master grade mustn't be low, right? Lu Muyan had a smile in her eyes. Yi Qinglu smiled and said, elder brother is a grade 4 spirit beast master. Lu Muyan's beautiful eyes revealed some appreciation. Qinghan's talent is truly outstanding. Spirit beast masters like alchemists and smiths were divided into 9 grades. Grade 3 or lower could tame demonic beasts under tier 4, while grade 4 could tame demonic beasts at tier 5. Under normal circumstances, based on the sword master's cultivation base, the spirit beast master could only control demonic beasts at least a stage lower than themselves. For example, Yi Qinghan at Sword King cultivation base could tame tier 4 demonic beasts, and could only be a grade 3 spirit beast master at most. So now that he was a grade 4 spirit beast master, it belonged to a cross-stage contract, which also proved that his talent for taming beasts were excellent and powerful. Come and read on our website Wuxiao World site. Thanks being praised by Lu Muyan, the corners of Yi Qinghan's lips unconsciously raised into an arc. Ahead of us is the largest pill shop of Luoshi City. The spiritual herbs inside are relatively complete. Let's go and take a look. Sure. Shifeng's eyes also revealed some interest. Luoshi City had some special companion spiritual herbs too, which he was also very interested in. After walking for more than 30 meters, what one saw was a 3-story building with the 3 words 100 Herbs Hall written on an inscribed board in the middle. As soon as one entered the shop, 2 shop assistants immediately came up to greet them. Young Lord, young masters and young misses, please come in. There were a few tables and chairs for guests to rest in the hall, all of which were filled with people. Inside, there were 2 rows of counters where the shopkeeper, who originally had his head lowered to do accounts, immediately raised his head, and greeted them with a smile after hearing the shop assistants. Greetings, young lord, young masters and young misses. Shopkeeper, take out 2 copies of your spiritual herbs list and let us have a look. Yi Qinghan said lightly. Yes. Young lord, young masters and young misses, please follow me to the distinguished guest room on the 2nd floor. The shopkeeper respectfully led the several people to a private room on the 2nd floor. Within the private room there were a few flowers and plants placed in there, and the layout was rather refreshing, giving people a fresh and natural feeling. As soon as they sat down, 2 maidservants came in with teapots and poured tea for them. An attendant in the shop obeyed the shopkeeper's instructions and came in with 2 jade slips. The shopkeeper immediately picked them up and handed it to Yi Qinghan. Young lord, this is the list of all the items sold in our shop. Please take a look. Yi Qinghan handed the 2 jade slips to Lu Muyan and Shifeng. Take a look to see if there are any spiritual herbs you need to purchase. Lu Muyan took one and scanned it with her mental energy. The items on the market in the jade slip were divided into 3 categories. The first category was the pill area. This pill shop had more than 10 types of pills for sale, basically all grade 1 and 2 pills. In a deeper column there was a type of grade 3 pill for sale, but it was limited and only sold to distinguished guests. The second category was the spiritual herbs area. There were more than 100 types of spiritual herbs, and among them, there were more than a dozen species of companion spiritual herbs that could only grow on the Tamer Spirit Mountain near the Yi clan, and 5 types of spiritual herbs that were main ingredients to refine grade 3 pills, also only open to distinguished guests. The third category was a medicinal resource and auxiliary products area. There were some medicinal resources that were either required by mortal humans when they were ill, or were used to refine certain grade 1 pills that promoted blood circulation. There were also those that treated internal and external injuries, as well as some medical items to support refining pills and treating illnesses. Lu Muyan stayed in the spiritual herbs category for the longest time and memorized the spiritual herbs she wanted. Then she scanned the medicinal materials and auxiliary category, and when she saw the Jiangchuan Lin fish bead, she paused. She looked up at the shopkeeper and asked, "You have Jiangchuan Lin fish beads for sale? These beads can be used to refine pills?" The shopkeeper saw that her temperament was extraordinary, had Sword King strength at such a young age, and was also a friend of young Lord Yi, so he replied respectfully with a smile. The Jiangchuan Lin fish bead contains a trace of water elemental energy which can neutralize some pills' medicinal properties, making them milder and non-irritating to use, but it doesn't have much other use. Lu Muyen nodded and said calmly, however many you have, I want them all. Surprise flashed past the shopkeeper's eyes. Although this Jiangchuan Lin fish bead can neutralize medicinal properties, but one didn't need to use much. Why did this young miss want so much? But he didn't dare ask more. After thinking about it, he reported a number. There are about 200 left. I want it all. Lu Muyen put down the jade slip, then told him all the spiritual herbs she wanted. However many of these spiritual herbs you have, I want that many. The smile on the shopkeeper's face couldn't be restrained. This young miss was really a big customer. Translated product by May Our Come True 1A play on the idiom when one is beneath the eaves of another, one must bow their head. Basically means that when a person isn't comparable to another in terms of status, strength, opportunity etc., they must know to yield and be flexible. 2 companion spiritual herbs are mentioned a lot in Xianxia novels, I'm pretty sure, I just don't know if it's translated the same. Basically spiritual herbs that grow alongside specific species of demonic beasts and such. The shopkeeper was smiling broadly. This was a big customer, they needed to serve her well. Muyen, why do you want so many spiritual herbs? Yi Qinghan was very surprised when he saw that she had asked for more than half of the 100 herbs hall's spiritual herbs. Even if this was to refine pills, she didn't need that much, right? Lu Muyen smiled, buying it just in case I need it unexpectedly. She wanted to form a private army in the Lu clan, so she naturally had to refine pills that could progress cultivation bases so that the 100 people could improve their strength. Although the spiritual herbs in this 100 herb hall weren't very high level, but many could be used, especially the more than a dozen types of demonic beast companion herbs which could be used to refine several useful grade 2 pills. Muyen, can you give me 1/3 of the dozen or so companion herbs? Shifeng came to Luoxi City to buy some companion herbs to begin with and wasn't contending with Lu Muyen on purpose. He really just needed them. Sure. Lu Muyen smiled generously. Since she decided to befriend Shifeng and Mu Yi, then she naturally wouldn't care about such an amount of spiritual herbs. There wasn't much expression on Shifeng's face that appeared to have face paralysis, but there was a smile in his eyes. I can pay for your spiritual herbs today. Young Lord Shi really is generous. I'll trouble you again if I have a chance in the future. This time I have just enough money with me. Lu Muyen declined gracefully. Shifeng didn't force it either and nodded, all right. When the shopkeeper put the things Lu Muyen asked for in an interspatial bag and handed it to her to count, Bing Ji took the opportunity to inhale, and more than 30 or 40 water essences of the Jiangchuan Lin fish was sucked into his belly. Lu Muyen took a breath, resisting the urge to slap this fellow dead. It wasn't like she wasn't going to give it to him to eat. Did he need to be so impatient? People who didn't know might even think she abused her spirit pet Mu Yi, and the others were still wondering why Lu Muyen had to buy so many Jiangchuan Lin fish beads, but now that they saw the 7-colored parrots so impatiently devour them, they completely believed what she said before. If they also had a tier 6 spirit pet, let alone 200 beads, they'd be willing to buy even tens of thousands. After leaving the 100 herb hall, the several people went to the largest smith shop in Luoxi City. After reading the list of sale items, Lu Muyen quickly swept up the items she wanted as usual, making the people next to her feel that she was just too prodigal. But when they remembered how she luxuriously and crazily swallowed pills in the glacial mountain range, they felt that this was really nothing. This woman was just a prodigal lady. Wherever she went, she'd be prodigal there. In the future, whoever married her, could he even afford it? Then Yi Qinghan took them to several other shops and Lu Muyen kept sweeping up their items continuously, making it so that the few people who had already calmed themselves couldn't resist but sigh again about her prodigal level. They really didn't know why she wanted to take back so many spiritual herbs and smithing spars. The question was, could she use it up herself? After practically sweeping out all the spiritual herbs and smithing spar shops, the several people went to the Stream Reflection restaurant Yi Qinglu spoke of to have a meal. The speed of Lu Muyen's chopsticks was very fast, and she also ate quickly, but she didn't have the appearance of being crude and rash. On the contrary, she appeared rather elegant. After being used to seeing women who chewed carefully and swallowed slowly to appear gentle, and now seeing her so straightforward, she actually felt very pleasing to the eye. Elder sister Mu Yen, This is the most famous fresh fruit wine in the Stream Reflection restaurant. It's made from 3 kinds of spiritual fruits, hard to obtain even with thousands of gold. Have a taste. Yiqing Li picked up a transparent glass bottle on the table and poured a glass of wine for Lu Muyan. Come and read on our website Wuxiao World site. Thanks. Lu Muyan picked up the wine glass and saw that the red liquid inside was clear and transparent with a hint of spiritual force. She took a sip, refreshing and cool, and there was even a sweet aftertaste in her mouth. Indeed rather good. She used to brew spiritual wine when she was bored in the immortal cultivation world as well. Now this wine hooked out the cravings in her body. After collecting several ingredients to brew spiritual wine, she would also brew some and drink it often. Yiqing Li poured wine for her with a smile and a little regret on her face. I love to drink this kind of spiritual wine the most, but unfortunately Stream Reflection restaurant limits the purchase and only sells 1 bottle a month. This bottle is one that I had to make a reservation for last month. The 3 spiritual fruits in this kind of spiritual wine are relatively rare, so it's very troublesome to brew. It's normal for them to restrict sales. Shifeng took a sip and said slowly. Lu Muyan saw how willing Yiqing Li was pouring the wine for her, but when it came to herself she reluctantly took small sips after small sips and said with a smile, "If you like spiritual wine, wait until I find some ingredients to brew it. After I finish brewing, I'll get someone to send it to you, and I promise that it'll be even sweeter and more delicious than this fresh spirit wine." Muyan, you also know how to brew spiritual wine? Yiqing Han was dumbfounded. Spiritual wine on Tianling continent was even rarer than pills. An alchemist who could brew spiritual wine not only needed to be able to refine wine pills, but also needed to have talent in winemaking. More importantly, there was no recipe for brewing spiritual wine in the outside world. Even on the auctions of the Ming Chamber of Commerce Alliance, only one might appear every few decades. Seeing Yiqing Han's dumbfounded expression, Lu Muyan asked in confusion with a smile, "That's right. Is it weird to be able to brew spiritual wine? Which one of those old monsters back then in the immortal cultivation world couldn't brew spiritual wine?" For many immortal cultivators, it wasn't that they didn't care about having good food, but it was because the things from the mortal world could no longer satisfy their appetites. Hearing her utter such things so calmly like the breeze and clouds, the several people here couldn't help but hold their foreheads. What did she mean by was it weird to be able to brew spiritual wine? It was already shocking, all right. Stream Reflection restaurants spread all over the big cities on the entire Tianling continent because of their different types of spiritual wines. They're sold in limited quantities and can't meet the demands, making many old fellows craving it so badly they'd often come to exchange their good things for it, yet they may not even able to exchange a bottle. Yiqing Han saw Lu Muyan's eyes revealing befuddlement, so used the Stream Reflection restaurant as an example to illustrate the rareness and preciousness of spiritual wine. It was only then that Lu Muyan realized why they would look at her with such "you are not normal" eyes. I didn't know the value of spiritual wine. When my master left, he casually tossed 2 wine recipes to me, that's why I thought a lot of people could brew spiritual wine. Lu Muyan's brain turned and blamed everything onto the head of that fabricated master. Only then did everyone reveal an understanding, and they even secretly found some excuses for her in their minds. Lu Muyan was too young, and in Yanzhou Kingdom, that sort of medium-sized small kingdom, people weren't well informed. With a master that's so generous, it was excusable to not know this. Elder Sister Muyan, you're so amazing. When you've brewed the spiritual wine, remember to send it to me. Yiqing Li smiled cheerfully with innocence and loveliness. A smile overflowed from the corners of Yiqing Han's lips. Don't forget me as well then. Muyan, I'll order a few bottles now. Ah, they all have it, then Muyan, you can't forget us. Muyi's handsome face displayed a somewhat sincere smile and took Lu Muyan into his sphere of friends. Shifeng nodded as well. You also can't forget mine. Spiritual wine couldn't only satisfy one's desire for good food, but most importantly, it could also improve one's cultivation base, which was beneficial in removing impurities from the body after cultivating. That's why the sword masters of Tianling continent were very keen, but only very few people could afford it. No problem. Lu Muyan said with a chuckle when she saw them reveal such rare expressions. After they finished their meal, Yiqing Li hugged Lu Muyan's arm and asked, "Elder Sister Muyan, do you want to go to the spirit pet shop for a look? This is something unique to Luoxi City, and many sword masters would come here after hearing its reputation." Chapter 146. Taming contract skill. The spirit pet shop Yi Qinglu spoke of made Lu Muyen slightly curious. The spirit pet shop specializes in selling contract demonic beasts? Lu Muyen asked with a certain tone. Yi Qinglu nodded. There's a grade 4 spirit beast master to oversee the spirit pet shop, and there are demonic beasts that have already been tamed for sale, or you can also catch a demonic beast yourself and pay a certain fee to ask the spirit beast masters in the store to help tame and contract. This spirit pet shop must be the Yi clan's property, right? Lu Muyen smiled softly with brilliant lights and vibrant colors in her eyes. Yi Qinglu opened her eyes wide and asked with surprise, Elder Sister Muyen, how did you know that the spirit pet shop is Yi clan's property? Even Shifeng, Mu Yi and the others turned their head to look at her. If they hadn't already known what the Yi clan's publicized properties were, even they wouldn't have guessed that the spirit pet shop belonged to the Yi clan. Lu Muyen blinked and said with a smile, Qinghan told me. Me? Yi Qinghan was dazed. When? He didn't remember telling Lu Muyen that the spirit pet shop in Luoshi City was the Yi clan's property. Didn't you tell me before that the spirit beast masters above grade 3 in Luoshi City all belong to the Yi clan? Just now Qinglu said that a grade 4 spirit beast master oversaw the spirit pet shop, then doesn't it indirectly prove that it's your Yi clan's property? Lu Muyen's gorgeous face swayed with a spirited and clever smile, making the surrounding men stare blankly in a daze. Yi Qinghan looked at her in amusement, and there was a pampering in his eyes that even he didn't know. You little clever girl. Mu Yi and Yunlan also lowered their heads, smiling. Lu Muyen was indeed very intelligent. Being able to think of these from casual conversations, one could see that she indeed had a clear heart and refined nature. The few chattered and laughed along the way, and when they walked past 2 streets, they saw a spacious shop where many people entered and exited with demonic beasts beside them. Entering the shop, a sharp-eyed attendant ran to call the shopkeeper as soon as he saw the few people enter. The shopkeeper then greeted them with a smile on his face upon hearing the news. Young Lord, young Mississippi. The shopkeeper respectfully greeted with formalities, then turned and smiled at Lu Muyen and the others, greeting, Young sirs, young misses, please come inside. How's business today? Yi Qinghan asked casually. The shopkeeper replied, Today business is a bit lighter, about 1/10 less than usual. Yi Qinghan randomly scanned the shop, then ordered, Take us to the 3rd floor for a look. The 1st and 2nd floors were filled with low-level demonic beasts, nothing to look at, while the 3rd floor was the treasure area. Hiss hiss. Lu Muyen was about to step upstairs when she discovered that Meow Meow, who had been wrapped around her wrist, suddenly slithered out, hissing excitedly at a corner of the 1st floor, conveying a kind of desire to her. You all go up first, I'll take a look before going. Lu Muyen had no choice but to stop in her steps and say to the few people who had already started to go upstairs. Yi Qinghan and the others didn't know what she was going to do, but they all stopped in their steps. No worries, we'll accompany you. Lu Muyen also knew that they wouldn't go up first, nodded, then walked in the direction where Meow Meow flicked its tongue at. When she approached, she saw dozens of gray mice in a cage in the corner. Judging from their aura, she could tell that they were Tier 2 demonic beasts. She had seen them on the continent's demonic beast record. Desolate land rat, mostly Tier 1 to 3 with no special talents of their race. Their meat was fresh and tender, and the tender meat of their entire body contained some energy like elemental energy. They were mostly used for food, and frequent eating could progress cultivation bases. Of course, only sword masters under sword spirit could progress their cultivation base with eating desolate land rats, so its general price wasn't that expensive. Meow Meow wants to eat? Lu Muyen gently rubbed the head of the little white snake with her finger. Hiss hiss. Meow Meow rubbed Lu Muyen's hand affectionately with her head, expressing a desire in her heart. Come and read on our website Wuxiao World site. Thanks. Lu Muyen would naturally meet its desires. Shopkeeper, are these desolate land rats for sale? Replying to young miss, they are for sale. The shopkeeper replied with a smile. Originally, these desolate land rats were ordered by a sword master, but some time ago he was killed by someone when he went out, so the order was also cancelled. Now that this friend of young lord's wanted it, of course he had to cater and sell. Then he'll take it all and pay the bill together after we browse the place. Lu Muyen's prodigal behavior couldn't be stopped at all. The shopkeeper looked at Yi Qinghan with questioning eyes. This? Store it all in a spirit beast bangle and charge the cost to my account. This was Yi clan's property. Yi Qinghan definitely wouldn't collect Lu Muyen's money. Qinghan, I'd be embarrassed if you're this generous. Lu Muyen smiled brightly, eyebrows curved. Yi Ching Han couldn't resist stretching out his hand and flick her forehead gently, saying with a smile, "I still don't know how to repay you for treating Elder Lu and Qing Lu. This little matter, it's not worth mentioning." Then he also found that his actions were too intimate, and he immediately put his hand down and coughed dryly, "Let's go upstairs." Mu Yi and Shi Feng both noticed Yi Ching Han's movements and expressions, and they both grew thoughtful. Yi Ching Lu secretly smiled. She had always known that elder brother had a favorable impression of Lu Muyen, but now it had probably upgraded to like. She was also happy to have Lu Muyen as her own sister-in-law in the future. Lu Muyen also didn't expect that Yi Ching Han, who was usually serious and a little cold, would act in such a way. Seeing that he quickly withdrew his hand and changed the subject, she also didn't lay it bare and cooperated in going upstairs. On the third floor they could no longer see cages of demonic beasts, only more than a dozen spirit beast bangles on the counter. Each spirit beast bangle was protected by an elemental energy cover, and if one didn't have the special activation method, it couldn't be taken out. There was a jade slip outside each elemental energy light shield which was used to introduce the situation of the demonic beasts in the spirit beast bangle. There was a middle-aged man sitting in the middle of the lobby on the third floor as well. Although his appearance was ordinary, but he had a gentle temperament, and one that made others unable to resist getting close to. Currently he was helping contract the demonic beast that was captured by a sword master. Lu Muyen found a place to sit down and watched with great interest. Behind the man was a complex array. The moment the Tier 4 mystic pattern leopard was thrown into the array, it was bound by a few yellow light beams. The middle-aged man muttered a spell as his fingers kept drawing a talisman in the air in front of the mystic pattern leopard with elemental energy. Then gradually, an elemental energy array with a void spiritual seal formed. "Drip a drop of your blood essence on its forehead." The man turned his head and said to the client. His voice was temperate and warm like a spring breeze. The man immediately cut his fingertip and dripped a drop of blood on the head of the mystic pattern leopard. The middle-aged man hurriedly inserted that taming spiritual seal into the mystic patterned leopard's body and used his mental energy to control it to envelop the Yaofu of the mystic patterned leopard and form a contract. "Contract." He said a word gently and a soft white light instantly enveloped the client and the mystic patterned leopard. After the white light passed, the mystic patterned leopard that was originally struggling and glaring fiercely now sat obediently by the client's side. There was a sliver of connection between the one human one beast that Lu Muyen could feel. The middle-aged man walked to the basin of water on the table by the window and washed his hands before walking to the several people with a gentle smile. "Young lord, young miss. Great master one." Yi Ching Han and Yi Ching Lu greeted him very politely. Lu Muyen's lips curled into a ruminating arc. This was the first time she had seen this type of skill of taming and contracting demonic beasts. It was indeed really interesting. Great Master Wen, who was temperate and full of warm colors, was definitely not an ordinary person either. Come true. Chapter 147. This woman just wasn't a normal person. After greeting each other, Great Master Wen smiled kindly at Lu Muyen and the others, then walked back to the center to help the next client contract their spirit pet. In the same way, Lu Muyen discovered that every time Great Master Wen threw the demonic beast into the soul-locking array, the demonic beast would be bound by yellow light beams emitted from the array, the demonic soul energy weakened, and it would be easier to form a contract with. After the three cute clients finished their contracts and left, Great Master Wen said to Yi Ching Han leisurely, "Young lord is here for what purpose today?" "I've brought a few friends over to take a look." "Great Master Wen, has the clan sent any Tier 5 demonic beasts for contracting and sale?" Yi Ching Han asked with a faint smile. This Great Master Wen was a guest elder of the Yi clan who volunteered to oversee the spirit pet shop. Hearing this, Great Master Wen pointed to the very top of the counter and said, "There are 3 Tier 5 demonic beasts for sale, young lord can take a look." Yi Ching Han nodded, walked over and picked up 3 jade slips for a look, then asked Lu Muyen and the others, "Do you all want to take a look?" Lu Muyen already contracted 3 spirit pets and each one was of extraordinary origin. She had no interest in a spirit pet at Sword King strength. "I don't need to." Mu Yi once contracted a mutated peak phase Tier 5 snow monkey beast, so he shook his head and said, "I don't need to as well." Shi Feng and Mu Xia was interested and took a jade slip to take a look. Even Yun Lan couldn't help picking one up to look at. On Tianling continent, a sword master who wasn't a spirit beast master could only contract 2 spirit pets with the help of a spirit beast master. Even those above Sword Venerable were no exception. 4 Spirit Beast Masters depending on one's mental energy and contract level, a grade 10 Spirit Beast Master could contract 10 Spirit Pets at most, which was also the limit. Lu Muyan's ancient contract skill was different, however. As long as one's mental energy could support it, there was no upper limit in contracting. Qing Han, how do you sell this Tier 5 contract demonic beast? Yun Lan put down a jade slip and asked with some desire. He came to Luoshi City this time, bringing enough purple gold coins just to buy a contract demonic beast. He originally thought it would be good enough to buy a Tier 4 demonic beast and return to raise it slowly, but he didn't expect to encounter Tier 5 demonic beasts for sale. Yi Qing Han didn't manage his clan's affairs, so he turned his head and asked Great Master Wen, Great Master Wen, what's the price of these 3 Tier 5 demonic beasts? They are all my best friends, how about giving a clan discount? Although he's the young lord, but he didn't have the right to arbitrarily take from the clan's property without paying the bills. To be more precise, everyone, including the patriarch and the elders, didn't have the privilege. These 3 demonic beasts are the most significant products of our store, and they're only sold to specific distinguished guests. However, since the young lord's best friends want it, then I could accommodate somewhat. The original price is 6 million purple gold coins for one. My authority can only drop it by 1 million, so if the 2 sirs and young miss wants to buy it, then they require 5 million purple gold coins. Great Master Wen's words weren't hurried nor slow, making it feel as if one was bathing in a warm breeze, exceptionally comfortable. Only when Lu Muyan heard the tongue-tying price, did she lift her head and scan the 3 white light covers. This was a little too fraudulent, it was actually expensive. No wonder the 3 professions that make the most money on Tianling continent were alchemists, smiths and spirit beast masters. Of course, the most expensive jobs were the first 2 professions. After all, in order to advance, it took countless spiritual herbs and spars to start refining from a low grade. While the most dangerous profession was spirit beast master. It was risky to catch demonic beasts, and while contracting, if a demonic beast's soul energy was too strong, they could also receive backlash. Come and read on our website Wuxiao World site. Thanks. She stroked her chin and her eyes shone brightly. If she had no money in the future, she'd just go to the blazing and glacial mountain ranges where high-level demonic beasts roam to catch a few to contract then sell. After Yun Lan heard the price, he unconsciously furrowed his brows slightly. He knew that 5 million purple gold coins was indeed a discount, but it still surpassed his estimated amount by a lot. After all, he brought purple gold coins originally to buy Tier 4 demonic beasts. He just so happened to have exactly 5 million purple gold coins on him, which was given to him before he left, specifically prepared by the imperial family for him to use to improve his strength before the continental tournament for hegemony. That's why he hesitated between buying or not buying. Muxia only had around 2 million purple gold coins. Although she was from the main bloodline of the clan, but she wasn't the most valued genius, so she could only regretfully put the jade slip in her hand down. Shi Feng was the young lord of the Shi clan, and also an alchemist. He wasn't short of money at all, and the demonic beast introduced on the jade slip just so happened to have the same elemental energy attribute as him, so he didn't hesitate to take out a crystal card to transfer the money. Seeing Yun Lan hesitate, Lu Muyan said, Elder cousin brother, 5 million purple gold coins is too expensive, don't buy it. Little girl, 5 million purple gold coins is already considered the best price even on the entire continent. If it were at an auction, a Tier 5 demonic beast that could be contracted might require at least 7 or 8 million purple gold coins to buy. Great Master Wen said as he looked at Lu Muyan with a gentle smile. What I mean by expensive isn't that the price you're selling it at is expensive, but that it's not a good deal. Lu Muyan explained. Not a good deal? A Tier 5 demonic beast is equivalent to the strength of a sword king. Most importantly, it's a life-saving trump card. Moreover, in the eastern region, a spirit beast master Tier 4 and above is simply too rare. Sometimes even if you had purple gold coins, you may not be able to buy a Tier 5 demonic pet. Mui smiled and looked at her, teasing, Muyan, aren't you a prodigal? Even you have times where you think something's not a good deal. Lu Muyan rolled her eyes and said without a good temper, Do I look like I'm a foolish spender? It's not a good deal to begin with. I can go contract one myself, why waste that money? You can contract one yourself? Don't say you can contract a Tier 5 demonic beast. Mui's eyes widened, an expression filled with disbelief. Lu Muyan poked the 7-colored parrot on her shoulder and said, Although this Tier 6 demonic beast was caught and suppressed by someone else for me, but I contracted it myself. What? You can contract a tier 6 demonic beast? Everyone present was surprised. Really? Their little heart really couldn't take it. Lu Muyan's recent expenses were simply too huge, and she was simply too lacking in the money required to raise a powerful private army for the Lu clan. She had a plan in her heart, so she decided to reveal a trump card herself. I can contract a tier 6 demonic beast, but I also need it to willingly contract me. Lu Muyan said lightly. The several people breathed a sigh of relief. So that's how it was. In fact, as long as the demonic beast was willing, even a grade 2 spirit beast master could contract a tier 5 demonic beast. But which demonic beast would be that stupid to willingly subdue to a human much weaker than themselves? Lu Muyan's tier 6 demonic beast willingly contracted her, probably because it was forcefully suppressed by her mysterious master. But then her next sentence completely broke their illusion. But as long as their strength is inferior to me, I can contract any, so I can also contract a tier 5 demonic beast. Lu Muyan appeared a little tsundere. If elder cousin brother wants to contract a tier 5 spirit pet, then don't bother buying it, just leave it to me. By the way, Qing Han, does your store also accept tier 5 demonic beasts already imprinted with a contract seal? Lu Muyan blinked her eyes and said, a little embarrassed, I'm short of money recently. If I can, then I'll go catch a few tier 5 demonic beasts these few days and sell it to your Yi clan spirit pet shop. The people present couldn't help but twitch their lips and looked up at the sky speechlessly with all kinds of jealousy, envy and hatred in their eyes. Lu Muyan gave a deep blow to their initially rather strong hearts. This woman just wasn't a normal person. This kind of talent was comparable to a monster. Comparing one to another definitely could infuriate oneself to death. Come true. Chapter 148. Want to make extra money? Lu Muyan's words dealt a heavy blow to the favored children of heaven, but they didn't have any jealousy. Muyan, then does that mean you're also a spirit beast master? Yi Qinghan smiled, but there was some complexity floating at the bottom of his eyes. His final advantage in front of Lu Muyan also changed, but had tried to keep up with her steps. Lu Muyan nodded with a smile. I guess I am. It was just that her contract skill was different from those of this continent. Elder sister Muyan, you're really so amazing. Yi Qingla couldn't help but give Lu Muyan a thumbs up, and the worship in her eyes grew even stronger. The skill of taming beasts was also taught to me by my master. Either way, whenever something was out of the ordinary, Lu Muyan now pushed it all onto that fabricated master. When Liang looked at Lu Muyan thoughtfully, then said with a hint of curiosity, who might your master be, little girl? Master had never told me his name, but he called himself Old Man Tian Xianwan. Lu Muyan replied with a calm smile. This name wasn't actually made up randomly. When she entered the sect in her previous life, her respected master was indeed Old Man Tian Xian. But she didn't know if there was such a character on Tianling continent, though there shouldn't be such a coincidence. When Liang's pupils constricted slightly when he heard Old Man Tian Xian, but quickly restrained himself, and others didn't catch his expression. Great Master Wen, do you accept contract demonic beast here? Lu Muyan saw when Liang not talking, so she guessed that he had never heard the name she spoke of, and she didn't want to continue the topic of her master either. When Liang was dazed for a moment, then immediately returned to his senses and smiled like a breeze, saying, of course we accept. If young miss can catch a tier 5 demonic beast and imprint a contract seal, then we will buy it for 5,800,000 purple gold coins from you. The tier 5 contract demonic beasts sold in the Yi clan spirit pet shop weren't open to just any sword master. Only those with certain backgrounds or conditions were eligible to buy them. The selling price was at 6 million purple gold coins, and the supply didn't meet the demands. If Lu Muyan could imprint a contract seal then sell it to the store, then they could still earn 200,000 purple gold coins without much effort, which was also pretty good. After all, the most difficult thing with tier 5 demonic beasts was imprinting a contract seal. Once the contract seal was successfully imprinted into the demonic beast Yaofu, as long as a sword master dropped some blood essence between its brows, do a simple contract skill to complete the process themselves, then it'd be done. Then that's settled. Lu Muyan felt that the other party's conditions were quite good. If she went to sell it in other places, then they'd definitely cheat her of millions of purple gold coins. She wouldn't have the time and energy to take them to the auction either. This was good. Watching Lu Muyan talk about cooperating in transactions so lightly with Great Master Wen, those beside were completely defeated by her. She didn't look like she was joking at all with such behavior. If she didn't have the confidence, then she'd never take such a job. Younger cousin sister, Then I need that contract demonic beast? Yunlan asked Lu Muyan's opinion, holding the jade slip in his hand. Lu Muyan took the jade slip from his hand and swept it with her mental energy, then said with a little disgust, "Don't need it. What are you going to do with this type of initial phase tier 5 demonic beast? Even if you want a contract, then want one at advanced phase tier 5 or peak phase strength. Lu Muyan, could you stop dealing blows to people?" Wen Liang's eyes were deep and a smile appeared on his lips. "Little girl, if you can catch tier 5 demonic beasts at middle phase, advanced phase or peak phase, imprint a contract seal, then bring it here, the price will be even higher." "How much higher?" Lu Muyan's face revealed a bit of interest. "Come and read on our website Wuxiao World site. Thanks, for every phase higher, 1 million will be added. If the demonic beast is at peak phase tier 5, then it's directly 9 million purple gold coins." The expression on Wen Liang's face didn't change much. Lu Muyan thought for a bit, then said, "Good." Then she asked Great Master Wen and Yi Qinghan, "Are there any high-level demonic beasts nearby?" It would take about a month for Yi Qing's poison to be cured. Based on her previous cultivation base, she would have needed to apply needles once every day, but after advancing leaps and bounds, and also having the green sea of fog in her dantian, she only needed to apply needles once every 3 to 5 days. The rest of her time could be used to catch demonic beasts and sell them to earn some extra money. There's none nearby, but there's high-level demonic beasts in the Sunset Cloud Mountain range 3 days away from Luoxi City on a tailwind horse. Wen Liang said, "Sunset Cloud Mountain range? Is it very close to Feng Hill City?" She had seen the introduction of Sunset Cloud Mountain range on the map of Tianling continent. There were 3 places in that mountain range that were also listed as danger areas, but as long as they didn't cross over it, then there wouldn't be any danger. Sunset Cloud Mountain range is the only path between Luoxi City and Feng Hill City. Except for the 3 major dangerous border areas, most of the training for the pupils of the 10 distinguished clans are in the Sunset Cloud Mountain range. There's also a road connecting the 2 cities. Yi Qinghan answered. Lu Muyan's eyes lit up. Feng Hill City was the city where her maternal grandfather's Ling clan was located. She was originally planning to treat Yi Qinglu, then go take a look at her elder cousin brother Ling Fei Yang's illness, but time might be a bit tight. But now it seemed that she could drop by the Ling clan to bring elder cousin brother to the Yi clan and receive treatment together with Yi Qinglu. By then she'd save time and effort, and on the way she could investigate any news about the Sunset Cloud Mountain range. Those tier 5 demonic beasts should all roam around the 3 major danger areas, right? Lu Muyan asked after pondering. With the fact that the young pupils of the 10 distinguished clans dared to complete their training in Sunset Cloud Mountain range, aside from the 3 major danger areas, there probably wouldn't be any tier 5 demonic beasts roaming elsewhere. Indeed, but you can encounter tier 5 demonic beasts on the borders of the 3 major danger areas. If you want to go, never ever go deep. When Liang paused, then continued, "I've heard that the innermost part of the 3 major danger areas even has a tier 9 beast king and numerous high-level demonic beasts everywhere. Without the strength of a sword sovereign or higher, you can't go deep. I'm only going to catch some tier 5 demonic beasts, I won't go deep. By the way, does Great Master Wen know where there's a map of Sunset Cloud Mountain range for sale?" Lu Muyan asked. Wen Liang replied, "The map of Sunset Cloud Mountain range is sold in many places, but there are none of the 3 major danger areas. If you want to go, you'll have to explore it yourself." "All right. I've troubled Great Master Wen today." Lu Muyan wasn't disappointed either. It was better to have a map, but it didn't matter if she didn't. She was more eager to explore the unknown. With a gentle smile between Wen Liang's brows, he waved his hand. "You're welcome. Then this one will be here to await good news from you, little girl. Don't worry, I'll definitely do this business." Because the news that Lu Muyan was a spirit beast master was too shocking, the others also lost interest to continue to browse, so they went back to the Yi clan after casually strolling around Luoxi City. After resting for the night, Lu Muyan prepared to start treating Yi Qinglu the next day. Hearing the news, Shi Feng and the others immediately went to Yi Qinglu's courtyard and waited to watch her treatment. Even Yi Qin and Yi Zhan arrived one after the other. Yi Qinglu was the family's most treasured daughter. She had excellent talents and had a natural affinity for demonic beasts. As long as she was cured of the poison and her cultivation base kept up, it was very possible to raise her to become a tier 5 spirit beast master or even higher. Therefore she was very much valued by the clan. This time, with Lu Muyan curing Yi Qinglu, the Yi clan opened their warehouse to provide all the resources for her to use. Translated product by May Outcome True. One random fact: Tianxin is actually Ursae Majoris in the Big Dipper asterism, which is in the constellation Ursa Major, aka the Great Bear. Doesn't really matter for the story, I'm pretty sure, and probably just gives the master a mysterious feel. Chapter 149. Remove poison. Lu Muyen had already refined the pill needed to help treat Yi Qing less poison on the first night when she was preparing the treatment. In the room, Yi Zhan and the others sat quietly in the distance watching her treatment. It wasn't that they didn't believe her, but they were curious like sure Feng. Lu Muyen first fed Yi Qing Lu a special grade 2 antidote pill, then the two sat cross-legged on a white marble warm jade bed. After Yi Qing Lu took the antidote pill, she ran 2 full cosmic orbits around her body, fully exerting the effects of the medicine. Lu Muyen had constantly been observing Yi Qing less absorption and refining situation with her mental energy. When the medicinal power of the pill began to work, she formed several Taoist seals in front of her. She slowly placed her hands on Yi Qing less back and slivers of spiritual energy flowed from her palm and entered into the other party's body. The green sea of fog in her dantian circulated round and round, and together with Lu Muyen's spiritual energy, transported into all the meridians in Yi Qing less body. Because the fetal poison was overbearing and extremely poisonous, Yi Qing less blood had been mixed with a lot of poison already, so the bright red blood had also turned dark red at this time, which was extremely abnormal. Lu Muyen wasn't hasty either. She washed the blood in her meridians over and over again with the spiritual energy that carried some green sea of fog until the dark red faded a little before moving the spiritual energy into her internal organs. Yi Qing Le gritted her teeth tightly, enduring waves of pain. Compared to the more than 10 years of pain and suffering, she could still bear this aching. Lu Muyen's forehead and nose were covered in a layer of dense sweat. Using spiritual energy in such a way to remove poison was very exhausting. About 4 hours later, Lu Muyen had washed all parts of Yi Qing less body with spiritual energy 3 times, and the poison had also diminished somewhat with the spiritual energy that carried some green fog. Piu. Yi Qing Lu just felt pain in her abdomen, then she spurted out a mouthful of blood. After she spit it out, her entire body felt more relaxed but was also very weak. Lu Muyen retracted the hands placed on her back and made a gesture of completion. Seeing her gesture of completion, Yi Qing immediately stood up and asked nervously, "Lu girl, how is it?" Lu Muyen supported Yi Qing Lu and said, "She was poisoned too deeply, and this poison is extremely overbearing. Today I only cleaned up a small part of it for her. The black blood she spewed out just now was poison, so you don't need to worry. Everything is going smoothly." Hearing what she said, everyone in the room was relieved and looked down at the ground. Sure enough, they saw that the pool of black blood was bubbling and was very corrosive. Yi Qing clenched his hands tightly. If he hadn't taken that woman back to be a concubine back then, his most beloved wife wouldn't have died, her treasured daughter wouldn't have been poisoned in the fetus and wouldn't have had to endure that kind of inhuman torture since she was a child. Although he eliminated the woman's entire clan, but his pair of children still treated him with only respect and no love, always keeping an unbridgeable distance. He had felt so guilty as he watched his daughter grow up day by day, but the fact that she couldn't survive past 18 years old also made him suffer every day in regret. Now that Lu Muyen finally gave him some hope, no matter what, he had to grab onto it. His daughter was his lifeblood. He'd rather die than her. Lu Muyen didn't know the situation between the Yi clan's father and daughter, but she had always felt that Yi Qing Han and Yi Qing Lu had a complicated relationship with their father, always deliberately keeping some distance. At this time, seeing Yi Chen's various complex expressions of contradictory pain and relief, she could only sigh. She calmed her mind and took out the golden needles made by heavenly frost golden crystal. A wisp of flame appeared from her fingertip, and she roasted the tip of the needles with fire, then inserted each one into Yi Qing less large acupoints respectively. Come and read on our website Wuxiao World site. Thanks. There was also her spiritual energy entwined with green fog on the golden needles, which then penetrated into Yi Qing less body bit by bit and repelled the poison. After another 2 hours, Lu Muyen pulled out the golden needles and said to Yi Qing Han, "Qing Han, you take Qing Le back to your room. Let a maid wash her body after a quarter of an hour. After an hour, place her into a bathtub of medicinal liquid that I formulated and heat it up, making sure the water doesn't cool. When the green water turns clear, then lift her out of the bathtub." "All right." Yi Qing Han walked in front of the two of them and carried Yi Qing Lu, who had already fainted, then said to Lu Muyen with care, "You also go back to your room and rest for the night. At this time, Lu Muyan's spiritual energy was seriously depleted, and the green sea of fog was also a little smaller. All right. After greeting the people present, she went back to her room and poured out a few spiritual energy replenishing pills to take and recover. This girl really is a genius in pharmacology. Elder Wu said in admiration. Indeed. We wouldn't be able to learn her methods even if we watched. But it did help me realize something. Shifeng got up and walked to the pool of black blood that Yi Qinglu spat out, took out a porcelain bottle and collected some. It's good to have realizations. The comprehension abilities of you young people sure are good. This old man could only see the surface of things even after watching for so long. Elder Wu had already passed the best age for comprehension, so he could only shake his head regretfully. The next day, after Yi Qinglu woke up, she felt that the poison that had been suppressing her and causing her incomparable discomfort had indeed been lightened a little, so she ran to tell her family in excitement. After eating breakfast, Lu Muyan recovered to her best condition and continued to help Yi Qinglu remove the poison like she did yesterday. This sort of treatment to remove poison required the use of spiritual energy to wash the blood and internal organs that had been contaminated by poison over and over again for the first 3 days. On the third day, the black blood that Yi Qinglu vomited was even deeper and thicker. During the treatment, she also didn't faint again, and she was much more spirited than the first time. Lu Muyan breathed a sigh of relief after completion. Although this fetal poison was domineering and had incubated for a rather long time, but the green sea of fog in her could actually restrain the poison, so after cleaning for 3 consecutive days she would also be more relaxed. 3 days later, clear the poison and apply acupuncture. Qinglu must rest well. Lu Muyan retrieved the golden needles and instructed. After 3 days of rigorous detoxification, Yi Qinglu's face also became rosier. Elder sister Muyan must also rest well. The last 3 days must have tired you. She could see that it must be very mentally draining for Lu Muyan to treat her, and it was useless to say any more words of thanks. She would remember this life-saving grace in her heart. No problem. Lu Muyan smiled relaxedly. After the first 3 days of strong detoxification, the poison in Yi Qinglu's body had been removed by half already. As long as she devoured and refined the residual poison using spiritual energy in the remaining 20 or so days, then it'd be fine. Seeing that Yi Qinglu's complexion had improved and was even rosier than the pale complexion before the treatment, Yi Qin and Yi Qinghan were also relieved. They cooperated fully with Lu Muyan's treatment. Elder Wu and Shifeng kept their eyes on Lu Muyan when she removed the poison. They would always be amazed and realize something from it. Shifeng felt that he was very fortunate to have come to the Yi clan this time for the Heavenly Frost Golden Crystal and the Continental Tournament for Hegemony, and in turn run into Lu Muyan. 3 days later, Lu Muyan cleared up some poison for Yi Qinglu again, then said to Yi Chen after the acupuncture, "Uncle Yi, my elder cousin brother is also suffering from an illness. Originally, I planned on going to the Ling clan to treat him after removing the poison for Qinglu, but the Continental Tournament for Hegemony is arriving very soon. I want to go to the Ling clan and bring him to the Yi clan to treat together. Do you think that's all right?" "That's fine." Yi Chen nodded with a smile. Then he paused and said, "I'll take fastest almost 3 days to get to Fenghill City. Will you be able to come back on time for acupuncture? How about I send someone to pick him up?" Translated product by May Our Come True Note. Men and concubines. Enough said. Chapter 150. Miserable Bingji. It wasn't that Yi Chen didn't believe Lu Muyan, but it took 5 days at the fastest to travel to and from Fenghill City. It was possible she wouldn't make it back in time to apply acupuncture for Yi Qinglu. That's why he proposed that the Yi clan send someone there to pick Ling Fei Yang up. "Don't worry, Uncle Yi. He'll definitely be back in 5 days." Lu Muyan knew what he thought in his heart, so she promised. "And I haven't been to see maternal grandpa for a long time, so I wanted to go see him this time." Yi Chen also discovered through careful observations over the past few days that although Lu Muyan was young, but she was very responsible. "All right, then I'll trouble Lu girl to come back quickly." Lu Muyan checked Yi Qinglu again, and when there was no sign of any problems, she prepared to leave the Yi clan. Yi Qinghan, Mu Yi and the others were also interested in the Tier 5 demonic beasts in Sunset Cloud Mountain Range, so they decided to go with her. That afternoon, the several people met in the main courtyard of the Yi clan. "Muyan, how do we go?" Yi Qinghan took out a spirit beast ring and said, "I have a Tier 4 flying mount here which is faster than riding a tailwind horse." Lu Muyan ripped off the lazy Bingji from her shoulder and threw him to the ground. No worries, we'll use my spirit pet to fly. At his speed, we can read Feng Hill City in less than a day. Although the cultivation base of Bingji was suppressed by Ming Xiu to Tier 6 demonic beast, but his flying ability wasn't affected as much. As long as he let free of his speed to travel, he would probably be dozens of times faster than a Tier 4 demonic beast. Of course, this thing was very lazy, so it'd be pretty good already if he could control his speed to arrive within a day. Little owner, you're beautiful and brilliant and lovely, so couldn't you be gentler? Bing Ji stood on the ground and glared at Lu Muyen, then pursed his lips and continued to say, if you keep not acting like a woman, be careful that man would. But he had yet to finish speaking when Lu Muyen choked his neck with elemental energy, her eyes filled with threats. The mouth of this stinky bird really was too cheap that he almost told everyone about Mingxiu. Hurry up and change back to your original form. You must arrive in Feng Hill City in one day, otherwise I'll pluck all your feathers out. Lu Muyen said viciously. This stinky bird was just owing a beating. Bing Ji raised his head in dissatisfaction and still wanted to bargain, but when he saw Lu Muyen suddenly hold the golden ring in her hand to play with, he immediately shriveled. That thing was given to little owner by that damn man, but it just happened to be able to suppress his demonic energy. The most important thing was that it was able to bind his mouth to prevent him from talking. Wouldn't that suffocate him to death? He didn't dare to try to provoke Lu Muyen's prestige anymore. He knew that this woman usually looked easy to talk to, but when she was really angered, she'd definitely pluck out all his feathers. A 7-colored, dazzling bright light lit up. All Yi Qinghan and the others saw was the 7-colored parrot on the ground instantly turn into a tall and mighty huge cyan blue-colored ice luan with smooth and shiny feathers. This is a descendant of a cyan luan. Mui stared at Bing Ji with shock in his eyes. The pressure of a superior demonic race from the other party was too dense. Only a divine beast could exude this kind of aura. Meanwhile, after Bing Ji revealed his original form, an elderly man and an elderly woman, who sat cross-legged in a secret area with dense spiritual force in the Yi clan, opened their eyes at the same time and looked in the same direction in surprise. This is the aura of a divine beast? The elderly woman said slowly. The elderly man pinched his fingers and swept his mental energy in that direction, then nodded and said, it turns out to be a descendant of the Cyan Luan. But it's just a Tier 6 Ice Luan. There were a few fluctuations in the elderly woman's calm eyes. Could it be a junior in the clan who contracted it? Wait as I ask. The elderly man took out a talisman and inserted some elemental energy. Then the talisman flew out with a shoo. The Ice Luan was an extremely rare demonic beast on Tianling continent, and was also a descendant of a divine beast. If a junior from the clan contracted it, then they could spend some energy to raise them. Come and read on our website Wuxiao World site. Thanks. Not long after, Yi Qin respectfully stood in front of the two of them and reported what had occurred in the past few days, including the owner of the Ice Luan. You mean that the Ice Luan is the contracted spirit pet of that little girl who came here to cure Qinglu? The elderly woman asked without much expression. Replying to ancestor, indeed. The elderly man's eyes revealed a touch of interest. How could she, a little girl at the Sword King level, contract a Tier 6 descendant of a divine beast? There's a mysterious master behind the Lu clan's little girl. It is said that the person helped suppress the Ice Luan for her to forcefully contract. And the marrow cleansing pill that Qing Han had taken before was also given by the little girl. Yi Qin replied respectfully with a hint of protectiveness in his tone. The elderly man thought for a moment in silence, then said, after Qing Le's poison is cleared, you bring her to see us here in the secret area. Yes. Lu Muyen didn't know that the Yi clan's ancestors had interest in her. Currently, the several people were sitting on top of Bing Ji drinking tea. Bing Ji's back could extend a lot and the feathers in the middle could even be erected to form a circle around them, sheltering them from wind and rain. So Lu Muyen thought that she might as well get Bing Ji to erect the feathers into the shape of a room. Then she placed a table on his back and took out some spiritual tea to drink. Bing Ji flew as he smelt the faint fragrance of tea and cried inwardly. Why did he have to work so hard and bitterly as a mount while those bastards could sit on him, drinking tea and chatting? Thinking of it, he regretted why his mouth and hands had to be cheap back then and teased that beautiful red-clothed man. If that hadn't occurred, he would have snatched the heavenly frost golden crystal long ago and continued to live freely and easily in the glacial mountain range. The only thing that comforted him was that Lu Muyen was a generous owner and she was never reluctant nor pained when supplying he and the two other spirit pets with spars, spiritual herbs and pills. Although those things weren't very effective for him as a Tier 8 demonic beast, But he believed that one day Lu Muyen, this little woman who was filled with mystery, could refine a high-level pill for him to have his fill. This was also one reason that he usually didn't go against Lu Muyen's orders. Using the words of that woman, this was a type of bet, and he put all his chips on her. Bing Ji controlled his speed and flew slowly, fearing that it would scare the others if he were too fast, and arrived at Feng Hill City the next morning. Outside Feng Hill City, Lu Muyen told Bing Ji to return to his form as a seven-colored parrot. When entering the city, one also needed to pay a certain amount of entrance fees. After paying the fee, the several people headed straight to the city lord's mansion. Feng Hill City was also constructed to be very large, and its prosperity was not inferior to that of Luoshi City. Most sword masters walking on the streets carried long swords on their backs, and the entire city gave a sense of remoteness and solemnity. But this wasn't surprising. It was just like Luoshi City of the Yi clan, where spirit beast masters walking with demonic beasts could be seen everywhere. The Ling clan was well known for their sword skills, especially their ability to fly on swords at the Great Sword Master stage, showing the special characteristics of their sword skills. Most other sword masters could only barely use the plentiful elemental energy in their bodies at sword spirit stage to fly on the sword. In Lu Muyan's memory, she knew the route to the city lord's mansion. When the several people arrived at the city lord's mansion, they saw two guards standing at the door. "This is the city lord's mansion, please stop." One person stepped forward and said to the several people without any expression. Ever since Lu Muyen started chasing after Qi Yixian, she seldom followed her mother to Feng Hill City. It had been 5 years since the last time she came, so it was normal for the guards to not recognize her. She was just about to explain when, suddenly, a joyful voice sounded from the side. "Young Miss Cousin 1. Are you young Miss Cousin?" Translated product by May Our Come True. Chapter 151. Seemingly far in the horizon but actually right in front of you, young Miss Cousin. "You're young Miss Cousin, right?" The voice of joy and excitement sounded, and Lu Muyen saw a sturdy old man walking towards them when she looked to the direction of the voice. Uncle Zhen. She recognized this man as the chief steward of the Ling mansion, and also an old man who had followed her maternal grandfather for many years. "It's really young Miss Cousin. 5 years have passed, you've really grown into a big miss." Ling Zhen walked to Lu Muyen and said with a smile. Compared to 5 years ago, the young Miss Cousin now had undergone earth-shaking changes. Not only did she have beauty that could cause the downfall of a country, but the change in temperament almost made him unable to recognize her. With an otherworldly and refined temperament, along with a sense of uninhibitedness and boldness, he had never seen a second young girl like this in the younger generation. "Uncle Zhen, is my maternal grandpa here?" Lu Muyen asked with a smile. "He's here. Who knows how many times Patriarch has thought of you before. If you want to come to the Ling clan, you should have sent a message and Patriarch could send someone to pick you up." Lu Muyen smiled lightly and said, "Isn't it so that I could surprise my respected grandpa?" "Haha, that's right. Patriarch will definitely be very happy to see you." Ling Zhen laughed happily, then seeing the few people standing beside Lu Muyen, he was stunned. He had only paid attention to young Miss Cousin just now and didn't expect that these 3 young lords also came. Young lords and third prince are truly rare guests. Please quickly come in. Ling Zhen curbed his affection for Lu Muyen and was very polite to the 4 of them. "Well, trouble, elderly steward," Yi Qinghan said. After Ling Zhen led the group into the city lord's mansion, they went straight into the hall, and he ordered a guard next to him to invite Patriarch. Not long after the few people sat down in the hall, an old man who walked swiftly as if flying, with a ruddy complexion and who looked about 50 years old walked in. Behind him followed 2 middle-aged men and Ling Fei Hao. "I heard that my family's mischievous little girl is here." Before the person themselves even entered the door, his sonorous voice entered first. Lu Muyen stood up and greeted him with a lively smile. "Maternal grandpa really is a treasured sword that doesn't age, truly still elegant as usual. Even more energetic than paternal grandfather." "Ha, stinky girl. I haven't seen you for a few years and this mouth sure knows what to say now." Ling Hongzhou gazed at Lu Muyen softly and praised, "My family's stinky girl is naturally beautiful. Just how old are you and you're already so gorgeously beautiful? I wonder how many young talents would be enamored by you in the future." The corner of Lu Muyen's lips twitched and glared at him. Shameless old man. Haha, stinky girl also knows how to be shy. Having not seen his granddaughter for many years, Ling Hongzhou missed her dearly, so the moment he saw her, he just wanted to joke around dotingly. Yi Qinghan and the three others immediately got up and greeted Ling Hongzhuo formally. Junior greets Patriarch Ling. No need to be so polite. You all must be tired after following this stinky girl. I'll get some people to take you down to wash up and have a good rest. Ling Hongzhuo's expression was harmonious. The four of them also knew that the Ling family and Lu Muyen had private things to say, so they all smiled and responded, then this junior will leave first. After the four of them left, Ling Hongzhuo patted Lu Muyen's head lightly and said, little heartless stinky girl, only now do you remember to come see maternal grandpa. Lu Muyen also knew that her maternal grandfather's temperament was more like an old naughty boy than her paternal grandfather, so she smiled and wrapped her arms around his, saying, before I was trash, so I was afraid that I'd blacken maternal grandfather's name. Now that I've washed away the name of trash, I've come to see you, my respected grandpa, and make you happy too. You stinky girl. When did I ever feel disgust towards you being trash? Whether you're trash or whether you're a genius, you're all my Ling Hongzhuo's granddaughter. Ling Hongzhuo was helped by Lu Muyen to sit in the main seat. Lu Muyen stood next to him respectfully and smiled, saying, yes. Of course I'm your granddaughter anytime. Isn't it all just because I wanted to give you a pleasant surprise? Come and read on our website Wuxiao World site. Thanks, no pleasant surprise, but there sure are a bunch of shocking terrors. Ling Hongzhuo rolled his eyes at her without a good attitude. Lu Muyen also didn't mind and giggled merrily to gloss over the situation, then addressed the two middle-aged men who entered the door last, second maternal uncle, third maternal uncle. Muyen has really grown up. No wonder they say that when women grow they change 18 times 1. Lu Muyen's second maternal uncle Ling Ziming praised with a smile. Lu Muyen used to be a domineering and willful little girl. Who knew that it had only been 5 years' time and she'd grow to look so slim and graceful with an outstanding temperament. Where's little maternal uncle? Lu Muyen had 4 maternal uncles in total. The most awesome and powerful maternal uncle was missing. Second maternal uncle and third maternal uncle were relatively more mediocre, while little maternal uncle was also an active and influential figure. Your little maternal uncle traveled to the southern region. Third maternal uncle Ling Ziwen said. Ever since the conversation with Yi Zhan, Lu Muyen also had a broader, general understanding of Tianling continent. She furrowed her brows and said, isn't it dangerous to travel to the southern region? He's already an adult. If he wants to venture into the world, then let him. It's useless to try to detain him. Ling Hongzhuo waved his hand dismissively and said indifferently, when one's son grows up, their heart grows wild. Especially his youngest son and eldest son, who were both outstanding talents. It was a waste to detain them in this small world that was the Ling clan. Lu Muyen thought a bit, then nodded, that's true. Little maternal uncle's that smart, so he should be fine. Stinky girl, let's talk. What's the main purpose of you coming to the Ling clan this time? Ling Hongzhuo looked at Lu Muyen with a smile that wasn't quite a smile. He had long heard that this girl had changed, but he didn't expect the change to be so big. But this was fine too. This way she wouldn't be bullied by others. Of course I'm here to visit maternal grandpa and my maternal uncles. Lu Muyen said with a smile, confident and justly, I learnt a medical skill and I also came to remove the poison for elder cousin brother Fei Yang. Stinky girl, I also heard that you're an alchemist now, but the poison in Fei Yang's body isn't that easy to cure. Mentioning his most highly thought of grandson, Ling Hongzhuo's face grew sullen. After Ling Fei Yang was injured and poisoned, he had invited a number of physicians and alchemists to come for treatment, but they all had no idea. In the end, he invited a high-level alchemist from the Mu clan to refine a type of pill that suppressed the poison into his 2 legs, and only then was his life saved. It wasn't easy to completely get rid of the poison, but they hadn't completely given up yet. As long as there was a chance, they wanted to seize it. Maternal grandpa, the little princess of the Yi clan, Yi Qinglu, you all know of her, right? Naturally we know. That child is also pitiful. She had been tortured by the fetal poison since young, and they also invited who knows how many physicians and alchemists, yet still couldn't be cured. Ling Hongzhuo sighed, then asked Lu Muyen, what are you mentioning her for? Don't tell me the poison in her body was cured by someone? Although the poison in her body hasn't been completely eliminated, but soon it will be. Lu Muyen said. What? Ling Hongzhuo exclaimed in disbelief. Even Ling Ziming and Ling Ziwen revealed gazes of incredulity. Yi Qing's fetal poison was known among the 10 distinguished clans as extremely difficult to cure. Not long ago, there was even news that spread that she wouldn't live past 18 years old. Who would have thought that it was mostly cured now? Who has that ability to cure that kind of fetal poison? Ling Hongzhu's tone appeared to carry some excitement. If that kind of domineering and powerful fetal poison could even be cured, then the person who cured it must have exceptional medical skills. Fei Yang's legs would also have hope. Ling Ziming and Ling Ziwen both watched Lu Muyen expectantly, waiting for her to speak. Ling Feiyang was the most promising heir of the clan in the younger generation, and they also hoped that he could get rid of the chronic illness and stand up one day in the future. Lu Muyen chuckled lightly, pointed her finger at herself and said, "Seemingly far in the horizon but actually right in front of you too." Translated product by May Our Come True. Seemingly far in the horizon but actually right in front of you. Lu Muyen smiled and pointed to herself as she said to them, her eyes gleaming with light, emanating a brilliant self-confidence that startled them. "Is what stinky girl you're saying true?" Ling Hongzhu reached out and flicked Lu Muyen's forehead. It wasn't that he didn't believe in his granddaughter, but it was just too unbelievable. An old ancestor of the Mu clan couldn't even get rid of the poison, but his granddaughter can cure it? Ling Ziming also smiled helplessly and said, "Yenner, don't joke with us anymore." Lu Muyen looked at the sky speechlessly. In fact, when she treated Yi Qinglu, everyone also just had an attitude of giving it a try. They didn't show it on the surface but they didn't believe. Though this was normal. After all, her age was still too young right now. Maternal grandpa, second maternal uncle, third maternal uncle. You've also seen Yi Qinghan and the others come with me. This shows that I don't have a shallow relationship with him. After a pause, Lu Muyen added, "I need to rush back to give Yi Qinglu acupuncture in 5 days, so this time I also specifically came to take elder cousin brother Fei Yang to the Yi clan for treatment. A month later, he'll be going to participate in the continental tournament for hegemony." Is this true? A stormy sea tossed about in Ling Hongzhu's heart, but when he saw his granddaughter's radiant eyes, he couldn't help but to believe. "All right. I believe Yenner will definitely cure Fei Yang's illness." Ling Ziwen remembered the look in Yi Qinghan's eyes when he looked at Lu Muyen before he left, and also felt that the relationship between the two was indeed not simple. If that's the case, then it'd be excellent. They all saw the pain Ling Fei Yang suffered in the past few years and they also never gave up treatment. If Lu Muyen could really cure him now, then it'd be a happy thing for everyone. "I want to go see elder cousin brother Fei Yang now," Lu Muyen said. Ling Fei Hao recovered from the shock and immediately stepped forward, took her hand and quickly pulled her out the door. As he walked, he yelled to the others inside, "I'll bring Yenner to find eldest brother." Watching the back of the two leaving, Ling Ziming said with a complicated expression, "I wonder if Mu Yen can really cure Fei Yang. The girl has already changed. I believe her." Ling Hongzhu stroked his beard and said firmly, "Lu Muyen had changed a lot since she was injured by the person from the Gu clan last time. He had heard of many things as well. If there wasn't some fortuitous encounter, then it was definitely impossible. The little girl's medical skills were even more amazing. He believed that the mysterious master behind her doted on her very much and he was willing to believe that his granddaughter wouldn't lie." Lu Muyen followed Ling Fei Hao to a secluded, quiet courtyard at the back. After they pushed open the courtyard gate, they saw a garden with flowers in full bloom, as brilliant as brocade, filled with the scent of spring. Following a path to the end was a maple forest. The red maple leaves whirled in the air and fell with the wind as the sun shone through the dense maple leaves, reflecting scattered, warm light. There was a stone pavilion in the depths of the maple forest. From a distance they could see a man in a wheelchair holding a book and savoring it. Elder cousin brother Fei Yang ordered someone to plant this maple forest? Lu Muyen remembered that this yard didn't have this scenery when she came 5 years ago. Ling Fei Hao sighed. Ever since eldest brother couldn't walk anymore, he fell in love with planting flowers and trees. This red maple forest was planted by himself. Lu Muyen swept the area of the red maple forest, pondered for a bit, then said, "It can be seen that elder cousin brother Fei Yang actually hasn't given up on himself. He has always had hope in his life. Otherwise how could he plant red maple trees that represented endurance, forging ahead ceaselessly and the love of life? Although eldest brother has been paralyzed for so long, but I've never seen sadness on his face. He's always bearing it quietly, which makes my heart hurt. Come and read on our website Wuxiao World site. Thanks, let's go, he's discovered us." Seeing Ling Fei Yang, who was originally reading the book, lift his head, Lu Muyen walked over with a gentle smile on her lips. Ling Fei Yang was older than her by 5 years. When they were children, Every time she came to the Ling clan he would take her to play around, tolerating and spoiling her. She had a lot of affection for this elder cousin brother. After walking in, Lu Muyen saw that the young man in the wheelchair had handsome features, was elegant and cultured, carrying a bookish air which made people develop a favorable impression of him even at first sight. Yenner is here. Ling Fei Yang's voice was like tinkling spring water, clear and graceful, very pleasant to the ears. Lu Muyen smiled, elder cousin brother, long time no see. Yenner has grown into a big girl now. Ling Fei Yang revealed a doting smile and was truly fond of this younger cousin sister of hers with all his heart. Lu Muyen walked to the other side of him and sat down, then poured herself and Ling Fei Hao some tea upon smelling the fragrance of the tea. Ling Fei Yang raised his lips with a gentle smile, his temperament as gentle as jade. His eyes were pure black, as if a peaceful land that had never been contaminated, clean and comfortable. What book is elder cousin brother reading? Lu Muyen shifted her gaze to the book in Ling Fei Yang's hand. Ling Fei Yang chuckled and handed the book to her, a book that can help my heart be calm like water. Lu Muyen took the book and scanned the pages. This was a Buddhist scripture. The scriptures within were rather deep and profound. Lu Muyen could see that this seemingly ordinary Buddhist scripture was actually a manual. Can eldest cousin brother comprehend the true meaning of the Buddhist scripture? I only understand the surface of things. The true meaning is too profound. I only have a superficial understanding. Ling Fei Yan's eyes were bright. Yenner knows the true meaning of this Buddhist scripture? I don't know. Lu Muyen shook her head and said, but I believe that if elder cousin brother thoroughly comprehends this Buddhist scripture, then you'll definitely obtain unexpected benefits. What sign language are you two speaking in? Ling Fei Hao took a sip of tea and flipped through the Buddhist scriptures randomly, then asked in confusion, isn't this just an ordinary Buddhist scripture? What unexpected benefits can you get? I actually think eldest brother is better off reading it less, otherwise you'll almost become a monk without any desires. Ling Fei Yang laughed when he heard his words. The difference between you and Yenner really isn't just a little bit. Elder cousin brother Fei Hao, your personality is only suited to gossip about the secrets of the men in the 10 distinguished clans. Such deep questions aren't suitable for you. Lu Muyen also laughed aloud, teasing. Ling Fei Hao wasn't stupid. He naturally heard from their words that the two of them felt that he was too hasty, so he huffed, it's so unkind of you two to unite and ridicule me. Haha. Lu Muyen and Ling Fei Yang couldn't help laughing aloud. After a while, Ling Fei Yang personally raised the teapot to fill Lu Muyen's cup. Why did Yenner suddenly come to the Ling clan this time? After Ling Fei Hao brought back news that Lu Muyen could have fallen at the glacial mountain range, the Ling clan felt exceptional grief. Fortunately, the news that she had returned to the Lu clan safely was received not long ago, which helped everyone walk out of that grief. This time she came to the Ling clan quietly without any news, so there must be some situation. Lu Muyen looked at him with a smile and said, naturally to come and treat elder cousin brother Fei Yang's illness. This sentence instantly dropped a stone in the originally calm lake of Ling Fei Yang's heart, beginning waves upon waves of ripples. Chapter 153, Blood Curse Poison. Ling Fei Yang's calm, black eyes were filled with deepness that others couldn't understand. When he heard Lu Muyen's words, his heart was uncontrollably beaten. Ever since he was paralyzed and in a wheelchair, he had never given up the hope of continuing to survive. But as time went by, after countless physicians and alchemists came and went, the final result had always been helplessness. It had been 3 years. From the initial anticipation and excitement, to the calmness of his heart now. He just never expected that one sentence could make his dried-up heart slowly come alive as if it had been watered. Yenner, how would you treat me? Let me take a look at the poison in your body first. Lu Muyen placed her teacup down, reached out to hold Ling Fei Yan's wrist and checked quietly. Lu Muyen felt Ling Fei Yang's arteries, then extended a sliver of mental energy and spiritual energy with some green mist into his body to check bit by bit. The meridians weren't blocked, and although the cultivation base was slow because of the poison, it didn't stop either. She probed deeper. After a while, her willow brows furrowed together unconsciously. There was a trace of black energy wound around the dantian with a disgusting aura of death. Passing the dantian, she headed towards his thigh and found that all the poison in Ling Fei Yang's body had been suppressed by the ancestor of the Mu clan in the calves. Taking a look with her mental energy, the meridians of the calves had already begun to show signs of deterioration. The bone and blood had long been stained dark red, and traces of poison like black threads continued to coil around. She retracted her hand and sighed. Elder cousin brother Fei Yang has been tortured a lot in the past few years. At least more than 10 hours a day your calves would be in extreme pain. Ling Fei Yang smiled faintly, used to it. Hearing his calm words like the wind in clouds, without any fluctuations in emotions, Lu Muyen couldn't help but feel sour in her heart as well as admiration. This kind of poison wasn't only very poisonous, but it had also been cursed. The black threads circling the dantian and the calves were the resentments produced by an evil spirit that were refined by the devil cultivator. Her eyes gradually cooled. Elder cousin brother Fei Yang is the person who poisoned you still alive? Do you still remember what he looks like? Alive. He injured me but I also heavily injured him. But I'm sure he won't be in life-threatening danger. Ling Fei Yang paused then said, he'll remember his appearance even if he turned to ashes. When Lu Muyen saw Ling Fei Yang mentioning the person who put him in such pain that made one wish he was dead, there wasn't much resentment on his face. She sighed inwardly that this elder cousin brother's temperament truly had been toughened a lot over the years. He probably also understood the majority of that scripture. But this also had its advantages. In the future, when the poison in his body was removed with Ling Fei Yang's current character and composure, his future achievements would definitely not be low. Good fortune laid within the bad and bad fortune lurked within the good. When elder cousin brother has time, please paint a portrait of him for me. Lu Muyan's voice was grim. What does Yenner want his portrait for? Ling Fei Yang asked in a daze, puzzled. Lu Muyen raised an eyebrow with a rare sternness between her brows. Naturally, so that we can deal with the person as they've dealt to you, making him live worse than death. Ling Fei Yang didn't expect Lu Muyen to say such words, and a warmth rose on his handsome face. Yenner, your temper sure has become bolder and more domineering having not met in a few years. If you owe a favor you must repay it, and if you have feuds then you must repay it hundredfold. This is how I deal with things now. Lu Muyen raised her head and smiled. Regardless of whether it was her past life or present, dealing with situations using this law had been deeply engraved into her soul. Come and read on our website Wuxiao World site. Thanks, that's very good. Ling Fei Yang had admiration in his eyes. Yenner should be like this. You won't be bullied by others in the future. That's right. In the future only you'll bully others. And if others want to bully me, then I'll peel off a few layers of their skin. Lu Muyen raised her chin looking very much tsundra. Ling Fei Yang watched her amusedly. Yenner's temperament is very good right now. Only in this way could she survive in this world where strength was respected. Elder cousin brother, how much do you know about the poison in your body? Lu Muyen thought for a bit then asked. I only know that there's a vicious blood curse in the poison that the devil cultivator cast, but it's also precisely because of this curse that all the physicians and alchemists who have taken a look at me couldn't treat it. Ling Fei Yang said. Lu Muyen nodded. This kind of iniquitous skill is refined using the evil spirit's resentments. After mixing it with poison, it's indeed difficult to cure with pills or medicines. Hearing Yenner's tone, you understand this sort of iniquitous skill? Ling Fei Yang's dull eyes revealed more expectancy. Not only do I understand, but I can also cure this kind of blood curse. She understood these things really thanks to when she turned into a mortal and traveled to that place that prospered in goo poison and curses and learnt of it. Ling Fei Yang was slightly startled. Before he could speak, Ling Fei Hao grabbed Lu Muyan's arm and said excitedly, Yenner, can you really cure the blood curse in eldest brother's body? But because this blood curse is very insidious, I have to prepare some things and arrange an array before I can do anything. After the blood curse is resolved, it'll be much easier to remove the poison in elder cousin brother Fei Yang's body. This type of curse contained the curse giver's blood essence and resentment, so it was very troublesome to resolve. Ling Fei Yang nodded with a smile and said, as long as I can dispel the curse and poison in my body, then I'm willing to try any method. I believe in Yenner. Don't worry elder cousin brother Fei Yang, he'll make sure you stand up again. Lu Muyen smiled and that self-confidence that scorned the heavens was unconsciously revealed again. Ling Fei Yan's heart moved. Muyen, this little girl really was different. No matter whether it could be cured or not, he believed that she'd do her best. Yenner, then when will you start to remove the curse for my eldest brother? Ling Fei Hao controlled his excitement and asked. I'm currently removing poison for Yiqing Lu in Luoxi City. Elder cousin brother Fei Yang's situation with poison is somewhat similar to hers. I came this time to bring elder cousin brother back to the Yi clan for treatment together. Lu Muyen said bluntly. Although Ling Fei Yang and Yiqing Lu were inflicted with different poisons, but they both needed medicated baths to soak in. In treating them together, 1, they would be able to encourage each other, and 2, it was also more convenient for her to prepare medicinal liquids and apply acupuncture. Ling Fei-yang was silent for a moment, then lifted his head and asked, "The Yi clan rarely interacted with the Ling clan. If I went to Luoshi City for treatment, will it affect their neutral attitude that they've maintained?" "The what?" "I've already discussed it with the patriarch of the Yi clan. Lu Muyen had thought of this layer long ago, so what if it's affected? Even the Yi clan's not afraid. What are we afraid of?" "I was thinking too much." As expected, Yenner is a perceptive person. Ling Fei-yang lowered his head and smiled. Lu Muyen was right. The Ling clan was currently suffering from internal and external troubles, so what was there to worry about? Since the Yi clan's patriarch dared to let him go to Luoshi City for treatment, then he was probably prepared to be dragged into the water together. Elder cousin brother is a smart person. You've just been too scrupulous before. In fact, the 3 clans of Yi, Shi and Mu are already secretly united, and the Xian, Shui and Lu clan have also formed an alliance. They've long broken the rule that the 10 distinguished clans can't join forces together unilaterally. We naturally don't need to follow it anymore either. Lu Muyen said. Ling Fei-yang's white and slender fingers tapped on the wheelchair's armrest lightly and gradually saw the direction where the Ling clan should be headed for in the future. Translated product by May Our Come True Note. Welp, wasn't it that in chapter 62 I checked, haha? They were certain the devil cultivator was dead. XD, but could have been a misunderstanding on Ling Yuzin's, LMY's mother's, part. Or a plot hole. XD. You're tuning in to the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.